to everyone. And of course, as always,
thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
See you guys next Friday. And of course, for the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, second the money green. He's CJ.
Back surgery is not a problem, Sean.
Sullivan. Let it ride.
Spring cleaning isn't just for your house, it's for your life. If your job is getting old, it's time to clear the clutter and spring into IT. Go to My Computer Career.
My Computer Career helped me get the skills and certifications I needed to start a new life as an IT professional in months, not years.
Earn the certifications the top employers are looking for right now. Visit mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation to see if it's time to spring into IT. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
You know the rush when you reach that goal, when something you've worked for pays off. That's success. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we believe you should never stop chasing it. That's why we offer a skills-based education that helps move your career forward. Learn how to apply emerging technologies like AI and data science. Build your leadership and critical thinking skills. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start May 13th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by SHAV.
Hi, this is Mike Somich from VSiN at the Track, where Aaron Haltman and I recently spoke about the jockey roulette going on in the Kentucky Derby. I read Ortiz Jr. chooses Renegade.
I do think it would have said something
Adopt
more
US
if he was
Kids
on Further
presents
Ado.
What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Youngstown, Warren, and Salem's local and national sports talk can be found on TuneIn and the Live 365 app at Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Nina's Pierogi House is your home for the area's best variety of pierogies. Daily specials include the Polish platter, the Hungarian platter, stuffed cabbage, and halushki. Having a last-minute get-together? Lena's has you covered with a wide variety of frozen take-home pierogies and dumplings. Go to Facebook at Lena's Pierogi House to see the weekly lineup of available flavors for dine-in or carry-out. Catch the best at Lena's Monday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 20 North Main Street in Hubbard or call 234-254-8532. Are you tired of switching apps just to catch your favorite shows and live events? Say hello to the iMedia1 Network app, your one-stop destination for streaming and everything that matters. From national sports to exclusive local content, Western Reserve Radio, Western Reserve Radio 2, and City View Sportscast are now all in one place, anytime, anywhere. Download the free iMedia1 Network app on iOS and Android and unlock the future of sports audio in the palm of your hand. The iMedia1 Network, your sports app in the Valley.
Honorary Forest Ranger Betty White here, lending a hand to my dear friend Smokey Bear. Because for years, he's only said,
only you can prevent wildfires.
But there's a lot more to say. Like if you park your car on tall, dry grass, the hot exhaust pipe can start a wildfire. So keep the animals safe, especially the cute shirtless one. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
It's time to kick back and listen to the sports page with your host, Pat Lucia, right here on Western Reserve Radio. You can call the show at 330-707-4202 and tell everyone what's on your mind in the wonderful world of sports. Now, here's your host, Pat Lucia.
Saturday morning sports page. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark. 330-707-4202. Getting talk sports on Western Reserve Radio, and it is the Saturday morning sports page. Dave Clark. A lot to get to. Draft 1 through 3 rounds have been up on the books. We're going to look at those. NBA playoffs are interesting and definitely heating up. Some teams with their back to the wall, the New York Knicks being one of them, no doubt, find themselves down 2-1 to the Atlanta Hawks. They play game 4 today. Now, these games today are on NBC Peacock. Now, back it up. The first game, Detroit at Orlando, which that series is tied 1-1. That game is on Peacock and NBC Sportsnet. Then the 3:30, and which is Oklahoma City at Phoenix, that's on NBC and Peacock. Following that game is the New York Knicks at Atlanta. That's the 6 o'clock game, and that's NBC Peacock. And then Denver's at Minnesota at 8:30 tonight. That's ABC. No Prime. They were on Prime, Amazon Prime last night.
Right.
So there's no Prime today, so if people won't be too upset. Then the Sunday games, the weekend is Cleveland at Toronto. That's 1 o'clock ESPN game. Followed up by San Antonio at Portland. That's a 3:30 game, ESPN. Then the night games, Boston at Philly, NBC Peacock at 7, and then 9:30 following that. The LA Lakers are at the Houston Rockets, looking to sweep that series to everybody's surprise, even us.
Yeah, I never thought that'd be a sweep. Well, really almost said, like I said, thought Houston might pull this thing out. Thought they would win it, maybe.
Well, the game last night, we'll talk some NBA, open up with that. Then, like I said, we've got to get to the draft. There'll be a lot going on with the draft. I think for a draft that wasn't getting any, quote, juice, I think this draft is really, to me, been very interesting, and where these players are going and the draft grades. I know it's all great. We always talk about draft grades, but the reality is they don't really mean anything because we won't know until probably 2 to 3 years down the road where these teams go and where the players go ultimately, if they develop and they end up, either being Hall of Famers or out on the street in 3 years. But it's great, though, to speculate and look at these players and what the teams have done and how they've drafted. The Browns have had a really good draft, and so did the Steelers. The Steelers, surprisingly, or not surprisingly, drafted Drew Allard out of Penn State, which I thought was interesting, but they still don't know what Rodgers is doing.
Right.
So,
well, I really think we don't, because somebody was on the NFL Network and said they had came to a conclusion of he'll give them an answer by the draft. And people said, well, we haven't heard anything. He said to them, he doesn't have to give the media or any of us with the answer, just them, so they'll know what's going on.
They probably know.
Yeah, they may know what exactly is going on. So,
and they're not saying.
Yeah, they're not. No, they just leave that alone.
Because the Steelers are so close to the vest anyway.
Yeah.
Rooney's not saying anything.
No, that's not going to get out. Usually stuff don't slip out in Steeler camp. It just seems like that. They keep most things in-house.
They are, very good at that.
Yeah, now they'll be honest with what happened, but when they don't want to clarify something right now, we don't need to put that out there. It stays in-house. So they may have everything they know about Rodgers. I'm thinking he will come back for at least one more season, and then you'll have a chance to, you still got, I think they still got Rudolph still probably be there. And then, but even if he's gone.
You've got Howard.
And now you're going to have Allard.
Drew Allard.
You got some nice young quarterbacks.
So you have two
that you can work with.
Young quarterbacks, your future.
Yep.
Then the only question they have to deal with, though, is if Rodgers does come back, I'll look up, see what Mason Rudolph's contract is. I thought he signed a 2-year deal.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They will keep him just for his veteran status. Yeah. Unless, during camp, Howard shows a lot in his second year to say, okay, if anything happen, we'll feel comfortable with Howard running the show. But other than that, I think you keep, because Rudolph knows the entire Pittsburgh system. He knows it. Now, I know it's going to be some things going to be a little different now with McCarthy in there, but he's true know Pittsburgh's type of the expectations, what they need. So it'll be the best place for him to stay.
Just so for the record, Rudolph he signed a 2-year, $8 million contract on March of 2025. The deal had a $4.5 million guaranteed money and a $3 million signing bonus. The salary for 2025 was $1.5 million. Okay. But for 2026, he has a non-guaranteed salary of $3 million.
Yeah. So he could get cut.
So he'd get cut.
He could.
Depending on what goes on with Rodgers, I don't think they're going to be cutting Drew Allard. I don't think they would want to cut Will Howard.
Yeah, I mean, he has to have a bad camp.
He really have to have a horrendous camp. But I think that's what their future lies. And they want to roll Drew Allard and Will Howard as kind of the team. And then hopefully they have Rodgers. But if Rodgers is stepping out or does not come back, then I guess they would roll out Rudolph would be their quarterback. And they would start the season with Mason Rudolph.
Right. Yeah, that's what they do. I mean, he's been there, he knows, like I said, but it will be some different things, as they say, they put in there with McCarthy. His offense is a little different that they usually do, but I'm sure they'll keep a lot of the the Steeler look. I don't think he's going to come in and just change everything.
No, I think you'll see the Steelers as you know them, and McCarthy's going to come in. He's got his offense, but I think, like you said, I don't think you're going to see a big variance of what you've seen here. And then Tomlin is going to go to NBC and get in on the mat. So
yeah,
he'll take a year off and do that and see what he wants to do after that. He's still under contract with the Steelers.
Yes. Yep. So will he come back? I think he will. Well, probably not there. They'll work something out, but he is still under their contract, right?
One more year.
So after this year, while he's doing that, then he's free. Yeah.
He could do the NBC gig, be on TV, talk, and he'll be great for that because he's always a good sound bite, and he always has, he's very good at what he says and how he says it.
Right.
So he'll ultimately be great on TV.
Right.
And then he will decide after, I'm sure it's a 1-year deal with NBC. They've got stipulation if he wants to go back to coaching, but he'll do that for a year. And then he'll decide if he wants to get back in coaching. He might not.
Right. And if he does, he'll be drafted. A lot of people didn't like Mike Tomlin.
He won.
Yeah. And the thing about it, they'll say, well, he's in a weak conference or division. This is the NFL.
There's really no weak.
It's not. I'm telling you, you got to line up in the NFL. And there's nothing about no weak. He could just go in there with his eyes closed. They can win all those games. It's not going to happen. No. Not in the NFL. And to be able to, and if you look back at some of the talent overall that he had on his team where it got a little low, as they say, the covers got bare. He had some of that.
Yeah, he had some lean years, but he was still able.
I'm talking about,
right.
That's what I'm saying. That's what lets you know. I mean, I looked at the time, you got to go with this, and you still won. And in some of those years, they still won the division.
Yeah.
And when you do that in a division that has Baltimore in there, you got some problems. Then you let Burrow be healthy or whatever. You got to go against all that. So I really always think that he was a guy that had a certain way that if people didn't like it after a while, and then expectations, they win. They want to see it every year in Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah,
and stuff like. But you're not going to win every year the Super Bowl. But he did, as far as winning, as you saying, he did win every year.
Winning record
every year. I mean, who would have picked? I don't remember seeing any books. Now I'm sure somebody might have picked Pittsburgh because they liked him, but nobody picked them to win the division with Baltimore and Cincinnati. No way. They didn't pick them, but they still won the division.
His problem was he couldn't do anything postseason the last few years. If they made the postseason, they got eliminated right away, and that was kind of the cloud that the fans were hanging over his head. And he just, they wouldn't let that go. And the expectation was like, okay, they just assumed he was going to win.
Right.
Okay, you're going to do that's the bare minimum of having a winning record, but you have to do more than that. I mean, you have to do a lot more than that. You've got to really not only get in the playoffs, but you have to win like a couple playoffs game, get to the conference final, and get into a Super Bowl.
Well, especially when the expectations
are
there.
Right.
It's a lot different from somewhere else. That if they got to the playoffs, they kind of satisfied it. We're showing that we can hang in there. We'll get there. Well, they don't. That's not the expectations in Pittsburgh.
No.
It's okay. You had that year. Now let's get to at least the conference finals and be there and be a stalwart there. Right. And that hasn't happened. So all the fanfare dwindled, and they wanted to get rid of him. So yeah, recharge your batteries if you want to continue to coach. Yep. And I'm sure you will get hired. We always know what happened the last week of the season. We have it all the time on this show. That Monday, Black Monday is coming up, and sometimes Black Sunday because right after the game.
Some of them don't even.
They fire guys right after the game. So we already know. We done seen people that we already know they're getting fired, They just wait until the end of the season to do it. So
And
it's going to be jobs out there.
And they wait. They don't wait.
And we never anticipated it was this past season. I think it was this past season. It might have been last year. But remember, we thought, about 5 guys. And it was like 9, 10. They just got rid of all kinds of coaches.
I know for a fact that between in the 13-month time frame, they fired more than 50% of the coaches. And there's 32 teams. And if you take who got fired in 2024 and got fired in 2025, there were more than 16 coaches fired. I believe it was 17 or 18. I have to look it up. But the point is, it's not for long, the NFL. And this year there were a lot of teams. I believe there were 10 openings this year.
Right.
Because you had 3 of them in the AFC Central,
right,
or North, whatever, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Baltimore lost their coach.
Yeah. Everybody except Zach Taylor.
Buffalo lost their coach and then Miami lost their coach.
That's another guy that should get a job probably. He'll be ready next year.
Yeah, McDermott will take the year off.
Yep.
And he'll end up
getting something.
But that's 5 right off the top.
Yeah,
and then you
right
had
there.
Arizona and
Gannon
Tennessee was early, but that was in the season. They got rid of their coach.
Right.
So that's like 7 right there.
Yeah. Yeah, Callahan, right. Yeah, that's right.
And Oakland got rid of the Las Vegas Raiders got rid of their coach.
Yep.
So that's 8 of them right off the top. I'm just going like right off the top of my head. Okay.
I mean, it don't take any time.
Right.
None.
Right. And I mean, that's the point that here. Now I have in front of me, let's see. Tennessee, the Raiders, we got those. The Giants, the New York Giants got rid of their coach, right?
Yep.
Tampa Bay got rid of their coach.
Wait, no,
Atlanta. Atlanta got rid of. No,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
They reminded each other though.
Yeah, Atlanta got rid of their coach.
Yeah.
And New Orleans got rid of their coach, right?
No, that's more.
Okay, he kept him.
He just came into the league. And you got it. I mean, not in the league, but as a head coach, you just got hired there. And
Arizona, we said that, right?
Yep. And you got to give him a chance too. You really got to give him a chance in New Orleans because he's trying to find out who his quarterback was going to be, and now he probably has him. In the rookie from last year, was it Tyler Slaw, whatever they got him? He showed it getting better and better as the season went. So he got his young quarterback, and if he can continue to move forward, then I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, for the record, there were 10. And in alphabetical order, they're Arizona. They hired Mike LaFleur. Atlanta Falcons hired Stefanski, 2. Baltimore Ravens hired Jesse Minter, 3. Buffalo Bills hired Joe Brady, 4. Cleveland Browns hired Tom Monken, 5. The Raiders, Vegas, hired Clint Kubiak, 6. Miami hired Jeff Hafley, 7. Giants, John Harbaugh, 8. Pittsburgh hired Mike McCarthy, 9. Titans hired
Robert
Saleh, 10. So there were 10 coaches. It was a record-tying 10 coaches that were fired in 2025.
Yeah. I'm telling you, there's no patience in it. They don't wait, but I think guys like Moore, I think that's the thing with Aaron Glenn. Now, you can't give people just complete pass, but you have to. He went in there to this past season really with not even a quarterback clue who was going to be his quarterback. You got to have the leader, as they say, the captain of the ship, and know who he is and have confidence, you couldn't do that with that quarterback room that he had. So this year we got to see who they actually get. There will be some movement after the draft. I even think they might draft one late, but just to have one. But I think there will be some movement, especially after the June 1st cut down. And maybe they can get a veteran to be over there, try to lead this team for a year. And then I know that depending where they at, but there's so many quarterbacks coming out. If they can be competitive this year, and then he get his quarterback next year for the future, then they might be on the right road.
Yeah, you've got to give. I know the Jet fans.
They got to.
They're already starting with poor Aaron Glenn.
Yeah.
Because they're already saying if he goes 3-14 or 4-13, blah blah blah, 3-14, 4-13, and they don't look competitive, he's fired. They said he took over a lousy team, took over a bad situation. The team struggled miserably this year. Really didn't have the quarterback situation figured out.
Right.
Now you've got a good. That was one of the best drafts they've had.
Yep, and they're just showing that something. I'm just looking over the NFL Network, and what comes on, Aaron Glenn, he's right there.
There
on
he is.
There. Yeah, and they happy with this draft.
Yeah, they had
they
hit the ball out of the park. Just to go back to the NFL head coaching openings in 2024, there were actually 8 head coaches.
Yeah, so that's 18 in 2 years.
18 in 2 years. There's 32 teams in the NFL. That's more than 50% of turnover in basically 13-month time frame, if you want to be that.
Yeah.
They had the 2024 was Atlanta hired or fired Raheem Morris. In 2024, that was the hire. But I'll look at that. Yeah, these were the one. Canales got fired by Panthers. The Raiders.
No, Canales is still there. He probably just came there.
No, that's when he hired.
Yeah.
These guys were hired. So there were the openings. These are the ones that were open. Atlanta, Carolina, Vegas, Chargers, New England, Seattle, Tennessee, Washington.
Yeah.
That was the openings they had. That was the hires, my bad. But there were 8 firings, 8 hires, 10, 18.
Yeah.
18 jobs. So, yeah, getting to the draft, the Jets
I like it.
Did great.
You got to let him see some of this through.
You've got to let
that draft so far. And, like we talk about the grade. Well, you was talking about the grades there. And I understand the grades when they do it now. They're going off of their talent, what they did in college. And if it translates to the team they went to, and they can be even similar to what they was in college, great picks. But if you go off their talent, what they got, getting Bailey as a pass rusher, they needed that. Explosive tight end, they could play really like a wide out, but big as a tight end. He could block, he could do all that. They got that in Sadiq. And then you turn around after that, and I think they got Omar Cooper, right?
Yeah, they got Omar Cooper from Indiana.
And we know what
the wide out.
Yep.
And D'Angelo Pons from Indiana, cornerback.
Right.
So they got the 2 Indiana guys.
Yeah.
Plus the ones that you've just mentioned.
Sadiq and Bailey. I mean,
right.
That is some good work they done did and put in already. So, you got to be happy with their draft off the top of what they're doing. So,
now you just got to let the team.
Yeah, let them, and find out some of his free agents that he picked up. He did get quite a few free agents. So let's see how they can mesh this team. And allow to see if he can build it. I'm rooting for him to do it because I hate any of these where they just get rid of guys right away, don't even give them a shot.
It's almost like a cookie cutter where it's like, okay, 2 years, that's it. The team isn't competing. We don't like the direction. Come in, wipe the slate clean, fire everybody. Because when the head coach goes, everybody goes too. The assistant coaches go.
Yeah.
And then you're bringing a new coach with a new regime and all new coaches. And it's all a new playbook, new offensive scheme, new defensive scheme. Everything is just different. So You dump all this in, you fire all, everybody, and you start over.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guy comes in, starts putting it together, but it always takes a while to figure it out.
Right.
And I know it's easy to come in and just press the pedal to the metal and say, okay, fire the coach. I don't like the way the team's going.
Yeah.
And I think you've got to, they don't, but you have to give these coaches, I always said you should give them at least 3 years.
Yeah. You got to give them a chance with some of these guys.
Unless it's a total train wreck and it's a train wreck.
Oh, yeah.
And you know that.
They're losing their...
They're losing. They don't have control of the locker room. There's too many problems going on.
You got to shake it up.
Then you got to make... I think that's what happened in New England with Gerard Mayo, where he brought up, but he ultimately, it was in over his head, and, Kraft came in and had to make the move and got Rabel. But the point on it is, I think with Glenn, because he was really a good D coordinator with the Lions, and he came up really through the ranks. And the Jets are just so, to me, the Jets are just such a train wreck, it seems. Year in and year out, it's always the same ongoing problems.
Yeah.
I would just think, can't you step outside your proverbial let's fire the coach box and give a guy like a Glenn another year at it?
Well, you should got to do something, because didn't it say it's insanity is doing the same thing over and over? So why don't you step out from doing that and let's just see what happens, because you never know when something the switch just flips. Matter of fact, you think back, if they really think back to Jets to success, when Rex Ryan came in there, and it was okay, but they were having some issues. They were thinking about firing him, but they held on to him.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boom, it flipped. Yep. They're in the championship,
and they got
2
in the
years
conference
in a row.
finals. Yeah.
And really, one of them, both of them, they had a chance. They should have won.
They should have won.
They lost to Pittsburgh. They should have beat them and got to the Super Bowl. They didn't. And I think it was the first one when they really gave them some problems.
Right.
In Pittsburgh. They kept them for a while, and then after a while, and it's just like anything else, you get a little burnout, and then they got rid of them. But then ever since then, fire, just throw guys to the wolves immediately. You got to see it out sometimes. Just give it an opportunity to see it out. And I really think, something can happen if you give it that opportunity.
And that's what it is. But the problem, we see this, we talk about it all the time. The patience level it just doesn't exist.
Yeah. And that's it right there. And what I hate when they say, well, you had to get rid of him. The guy never has been a head coach. He's in over his head or whatever, or just he doesn't have any experience as a head. How do you get to get experience unless you allow him to do it for a while? John Harbaugh was not just, he was a head coach. Well, he became a head coach after being a special teams coach, one of the best in the league. And you gave him a chance. You were patient. And look what he turned out to be. You got to give Belichick great defensive coordinator. We know that. What kind of head coach could he be? Went to Cleveland. You've seen some stuff, the toughness there. But then when they moved from Cleveland, they just got rid of the entire regime, which was one of the most stellar, decorated coaching staffs in NFL history on their coaching staff back then.
Oh, yeah, back then.
Oh, my God.
That's almost
insane.
That's a who's who in coaching
yeah,
then.
That was insane.
That was an unbelievable staff.
I don't know what happens if they just, if they kept that coaching staff
and
together,
let them develop
the
team, and it was a great staff. Yes. Saban and Belichick.
Yeah, and I forgot, it's quite a few more that's on there.
And that was, we'll have to look it up.
Oh, their coaching staff was insane. So, you got to give guys a chance. You just have to, but we'll see what happens.
The Jets lost to Pittsburgh 24-19. That was the conference final Dave was referring to. And then Pittsburgh lost to Green Bay that Super Bowl.
Right.
That was the 2011 Super Bowl. Back after this, it's Pat Lucia, Dave Clark, Western Reserve Radio.
The Village Tavern's been a beloved local landmark in Hubbard, Ohio for nearly a century, and now it's better than ever. Recently renovated and still serving up the same warm hospitality, the Village Tavern is your go-to spot for great food, cold drinks, and a laid-back atmosphere. Whether you're stopping in for dinner, catching up with friends, or just looking to relax, you'll enjoy a full menu of American favorites, rotating drink specials, and friendly service that makes every visit memorable. Be sure to visit the Village Tavern at 746 North Main Street in Hubbard, right next to Repair That Glass. To learn more, go to villagetavern3.com.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Ohio. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
Want to know what I like best about high school sports? I love watching my son run on the field. I love the fact that since he's been playing high school sports, he's making better decisions. And I love knowing that with the proper equipment, education, conditioning, and coaching, high school sports here in Ohio are safer than ever before. That's something I really love.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Saturday morning sports page. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark, 330-707-4202. That's the number to get in. The station is Western Reserve Radio. So just go in and Google Western Reserve Radio and you can listen to us live from your iPhone anywhere. Anywhere in the world. Anywhere. Chicken Man. There's an old station down in Columbus, Ohio. Growing up there, it's still there. It's WCOLAM 1240, and that was back then in the 70s. That's where you listened to all your rock, because FM wasn't really on the scene quite yet.
Right.
And it was WCOLAM Columbus was the home of Chicken Man, who was everywhere. So I would be driving around going somewhere back in high school, and I'd have COLAM on, and they'd have that come on. He's everywhere. Chicken Man, he's everywhere. And he's here, home of WCOLAM. So that was the home of Chicken Man. Some trivia. But yeah, we're talking about coaching, and that those Brown teams back with Belichick, Saban was the D coordinator. Mm-hmm. Steve Crosby was the offensive coordinator. Ron Dowhauer, who was, like you said, a disciple of Bill Walsh, was a quarterbacks coach. And Kurt Ferentz, who is the Iowa head coach, had been there forever. Mm-hmm. He was the offensive line coach under Belichick.
Yeah.
I mean, and then Rick Venturi was the defensive backs
good coach for a long time.
Defense, and he was a great coach. Chuck Bresnahan, he was the defensive quality control coach. I mean, these are the names that jump out. So yeah, I remember those names. Those guys were either offensive coordinators or head coaches.
Yeah.
And that Brown team back in the 90s, they had some really good.
Oh, they had some.
With Belichick as the head guy, but he had some really great assistant coaches back then.
Mm-hmm. They had some talent there, too. I mean, you would know if they never left within the next, probably the following season after that last one, they were going to be right there in the mix.
Yeah.
You could see that. They had talent there, but the coaching was so good that I know they would have been one of the stars. And back then, that's how Cleveland was. They could have a down year, and then the next year it's right back in.
Come back at it.
Yeah, I mean, the competitiveness between them and Pittsburgh was just unbelievable. Yeah. And back then, I think, with it not being any Baltimore, there was, I think Houston was a part of that division back then, right?
The Oilers.
The Oilers then.
The old Houston Oilers.
Yeah. So that was a very competitive.
Yep.
Yep.
That was one of your Bengals with the Oilers.
Right.
The Steelers.
Well, I hope
and the Browns.
I hope Browns be. Well, they were patient. They allowed Stefanski to stay there. Hopefully they stay there, do that with our guy here, Todd Monken, and see what happens from there.
That's the other thing with the Browns is you really got to give a guy like a Todd Monken. You got a young quarterback with Shador. Now, you don't know. I mean, he's going to be competing with Watson for the job. And I guess Dylan Gabriel's still in the picture unless, we think they'll trade him to Atlanta. Now, Atlanta will have 3 left-handed quarterbacks.
Yeah. And I think he is going to be some type of trade bait.
I won't be shocked.
Because, I mean, one of the things that got me is the fact that they was getting their camp together, and he didn't take time as a young player to come in with Todd Monken. He stayed on vacay or wherever he's still over in Hawaii, whatever he was, and didn't come in with them. I didn't understand that when you got an opportunity to see if you want to compete for it. Yeah, you don't come. So Deshaun Watson is there. Shador never left. He was there way before they even had. He just stayed up there.
Well, I think he has he lives there. I think Shador lives there year round now.
Right. He just didn't even leave. He just stayed there.
He never left. He's there.
Now that's a guy that's tunnel vision that in this job, as far as being a starting quarterback and being successful. He got that type of mentality. So I don't understand our guy Gabriel, because he's behind the 8 ball, as they say, and I don't think he's going to be able to even really compete there. Because when he played, I didn't dislike it, but I didn't see that spark to push that offense forward. Even though that offense was atrocious, but still, I just didn't see the spark. When he threw the ball, I didn't like it. Now, them short crossing patterns, oh, yeah. He'll put them things on the money. But when he had to throw downfield, shallow crossing, he had problems.
Well, I think
that ball was floating. It seemed like it was up in the air forever. And
I think the problem you have there with I don't think Shador had the time to,
Well, I know he didn't.
He didn't have time. I mean, I'll wait and see how it goes. I mean, I
give them credit though. They went to free agency to get that offensive line, and then that Fano guy to see that guy's a monster of a person. He's big and he's athletic. So if they can get him to where he needs to be, that's going to be something. If they get that offensive line going and they can run the football and they actually draft receivers. It's always good to have an explosive slot guy. And that's why I said that, I don't know what KC can set down. If we just go by his college attributes, he fits perfectly. And then he's good in the return game. He can return kicks. So you put a guy there that actually solves 2 of your problems, a slot and a return game. You got him there. The guy can catch the ball in the slot. But when they got, I don't know how they got him, but when they got Denzel Boston, I'm just, the heck? How in the heck did he get to them?
Yeah.
6'4",
I think you said he's the guy that's 6'4" and about almost 219.
Something like that.
But I can't believe he fell out of the first round either, because they kept flashing him when I'm watching the draft the first day. They kept flashing him as best available, and then nobody took him, and it was just like, God.
Well,
he just like.
Well, just they didn't need them. Need receivers. The team.
It
was all them trades because
then there's all these trades moving around.
Lemon was supposed to be gone already. Makai Lemon.
Right.
And all of a sudden he got all the way down to where Philly's like, how in the world is he still on the board?
How is he on the board?
And they moved up in front of Pittsburgh to get him.
Right.
I mean, that's what happens when you get a lot of trades. I expected some trades. I didn't expect that many. It was over in every
there were
minute.
A lot
they were
of
talking
trades.
Lots of trades.
I mean, they had so many trades. ESPN, I don't think he even could keep up with.
No, because I watched
the others.
I watched both stations, ESPN, and then
NFL,
NFL Network,
right?
And they were even saying there's some more trades, but we couldn't get to them
yet.
They
can't get to them.
He said they'd never seen the flurry like that.
Insanity.
Yeah, and that's what pushed these guys down. It's not their talent. It's
no.
What am I do? I need something else.
Right.
And
some of the guys were dropping
right for those, so they had to move up. So it continued that trend.
The Giants weren't gonna draft Darvell Reese because they knew he wasn't gonna be there.
Right.
But what threw the wrench is, I mean, it was kind of 50-50, but the Jets took
I told you that last week.
You told me that, right.
When they canceled his trip, I said, why are they canceling this?
Because they were already going to take him.
Yeah, they was already. They weren't
going to waste any more time.
Yep. They didn't know what Reese was going to be. They know they need a pass rusher.
But they knew he's a pass rusher. He is the pass rusher.
Right. And Reese might turn out to be a great pass rusher too, but you don't know yet. You know he's a great talent. So.
But I think the Giants kind of look at him because their defense was so bad last year.
Yeah, but they got so much now on as far as edge rushers. It was okay to get him because now they could say, see, you got time. You could do that. The Jets couldn't do that.
No.
They can't say, well, let's see what he... No, you can't do that.
No.
You got to get something that you know, and you know this guy's a pass rusher. David is no joke. So you get him. The Giants got Thibodeau, Burns, Abdul Carter. They got another guy they had on the bench, wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
So you got flexibility. Get Arvell Reese. You got time to find out what's the best spot for him.
And then you can
go. They in the right position to do
get him in packages, and you could see what you want to do with him.
Yep. They might find that out through camp, and that's perfect.
Right. And that's what you want.
The Jets couldn't do that.
But David Bailey is he was the number one guy for edge rusher out of the draft.
Yeah, there's no
and the Jets knew they needed him. The kicker, or the one that threw people a little for a loop, was Jeremiah Love going 3 to Arizona.
That's it.
Because everybody thought that
he would get to Tennessee, right? Was 4?
Yeah, he would go to 4 to Tennessee, and that they might take Arvell Reese then if the Jets didn't draft Arvell Reese, he would go to Arizona with the 3rd pick.
Mm-hmm.
So they figured Arvell Reese will go to Arizona if the Jets didn't draft him. That didn't happen because Arizona took Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame.
Yeah, you couldn't pass on that one.
And they didn't want to. He's the best. He is according to all the draft. Mel Kiper, he was the number one player out of the draft. Nobody was going to let him go. So, but it was understood that for some reason, if Jeremiah Love didn't get drafted by Arizona, Giants thought Arvell Reese would, and then Jeremiah Love was going to Tennessee. It never happened because Arizona took him at 3, and then that's when Tennessee was like, well, wait a minute, we wanted Jeremiah Love, and they ultimately Tennessee let. Who did they ultimately?
I'm trying to think. Who did they get?
4.
Forgot who they got number 4, but I know that Bailey and Love was their main priorities at first, and they seen Bailey was gone, so they probably was comfortable. Well, we got Love, and Arizona snuck in there, and that just blew everything out the water.
Yeah, I think that's what started. And then it just seemed to me that this just like steamrolled. And I think that's probably more than anything else where like everybody was going like, that almost set the tone for where the draft was. Then all of a sudden, Cleveland trade. I didn't even know it. Cleveland had traded up with Kansas City, and ESPN didn't even announce, but that it's on the board because I'm thinking, okay, who's Cleveland going to pick?
Now NFL Network just said Cleveland is off the board. KC moves up to 6. They moved to 9. They moved back. Cleveland moved back to 9.
Right,
because it threw off what they wanted. The Browns were sitting and waiting to get our guy Tyson.
Right.
His brother plays for the Cavs, and the family and everything was there. They thought that he was going to the Browns, and both their son, one would be playing for the Cavs and one would be playing for the Browns. But the Saints moved up. That was another trade in front of Cleveland and took Jordan Tyson. That's when Cleveland changed their pick and went, moved back. They moved once Tyson was gone. They moved back, and other guys came on up. So that KC moved up.
Yeah,
and
Cornell. We should have known this. I
that's
feel like
where
I
the
failed.
tape went to the.
Cornell Tate went to Tennessee. That's
right.
what. Yeah, we
see that threw everything off.
That threw it all off. Because when Tate went to Tennessee, that's when Arvell Reese fell to the Giants.
And I was kind of surprised still because I said they're full of edge rushers. I said Caleb Downs, after they know the mistake they made with getting rid of McKinney.
Yeah, McKinney was a bad.
That was a bad. Not to re-sign him, and he goes to the Packers and still
and
becomes
really good.
Yeah, and he played good for the Giants
really
that year.
Good. Yeah, he had. That's what
I couldn't understand. That
I don't know if it was a cap or a deal, but
well, they just was waiting to see if they were going to sign him.
Go.
Yeah, they did. They said, "Well, I don't know if we're going to be able to re-sign him."
Right.
And then it was debating over. They waited too long. Somebody came in.
Gone. The Packers took him. And
why would you be? Nobody's not going to wait.
And Leonard Williams, they let go to Seattle.
Yep, that happened too. Yeah, that was
crazy. At the same time, they let Leonard Williams go, and they let
McKinney
go. So they let the two McKinney go and Williams go. And then the defense was terrible. Yeah. And it was like these guys, Leonard Williams made a big impact with Seattle, obviously, and won a Super Bowl with him. And then McKinney played great for the Packers.
Yeah,
they were two Giants. And the Giants
I didn't understand either one of them being gone. They let them get out of there.
Right. And they let them go, and they ended up going. But
that's why I thought they was going to take Caleb Downs. I said he would take
the place of McKinney. I thought they would too.
But I guess they said, they look at Arvell Reese as a generational talent. As long as they can get him in the spot he needs to be in to excel, I think he will be. Because that dude's a great talent, but I don't know what he is. I don't know. It seems like he could play in the middle. He's so quick and instinctive. It looks like it, but it looked like he could rush the passer too.
Right.
I don't know where to put him at. And he's so good he could play in the box like a safety. And he did at Ohio State early in his career. He was a safety.
He was a safety.
Yeah. So, I mean, he could do that. And I said, that's a guy just like that. I told you, that's Josh Simmons. That went to Arizona. They didn't know what to do with him. Probably didn't have the right coaching to put him in the best possible spot. So, hopefully, the Giants will be able to do that and get everything out of Reese because the guy's an exceptional talent. And Caleb Downs, he did actually fell down
to Dallas. Dallas
Jerry
traded
Jones.
Up to get him.
Yeah, Jerry Jones. They said he wanted him, and he did. He went and got him.
And he dropped to 11, and that's where Dallas traded up to get him at 11.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know the Giants took the offensive tackle out of Miami.
Yeah, I can't blame them on that.
They
never would address that offensive line in the past. They did this time.
So I don't have a problem with the Giants not taking Caleb Downs. I might regret it, but I don't have a problem because I like the fact that they went after the offensive tackle Mauagoa out of that's
Miami.
And because Cleveland took Spencer Fano at 9. The Giants took Francis Mauigoa out of Miami at 10, which I have no problem. I'm a Giant fan. I'm glad they did it because, they still need that line is kind of been challenged. It's gotten slightly better.
Yeah. They got some free agents. They picked this guy.
But they got
early.
a young, and hopefully he can develop. And you'll have Andrew Thomas, and then you'll have this guy. Both of them will be.
Yeah. I thought they was going to take down. Then I said, well, you already got one defense. You can get another one, but are you going to do something different, maybe on the line or something? And they went and got some on that offense, So
yeah, the Giants did good because they got the wide receiver. What I liked what the Giants did is what I thought was a good move was they picked up the wide receiver out of Notre Dame.
Yeah, Malachi
Fields, and they needed that.
Yeah.
Because they needed Malik Neighbors. They needed a guy to go with Malik Neighbors, so that's good. And now the word is that supposedly Thibodeau with the Giants was going to get traded to New Orleans, and they're going to pick up, I believe, a fourth and a fifth rounder. And that's suppose my buddy just sent me a text, and then I read it online that
I heard last
that's
night.
the rumor mill that the Giants are looking to trade him. It looks like potentially New Orleans.
Yeah.
And
they had it was another team they mentioned too, but they said that New Orleans was the leader in probably getting him if they can work out all the.
And they're going to work out the deal, work out the particulars.
Yep.
And the Giants are looking to pick up a couple more draft picks.
Yep, I seen that last night because they showed them and they were showing their whole division, and they was in the works of making a trade, and the Eagles had just made a trade, which this team. They really Howard Roseman is insane because he got Jalen Phillips last year from the Dolphins and couldn't hold on to him, so he became a free agent. So they got a lot of edge rushers, but they go and get Jonathan Grenard out of the Vikings.
Yeah.
He's all pro there. He's all pro at the Houston Texans. And he's still relatively young. I think he's only like 26 or so. And they get him for a fourth and fifth round.
Yeah.
And they had a bunch of those, what do they call them, compensation picks?
Yeah, compensatory pick, yes.
They had him. So he traded a couple of them, a third and a fourth, or a fourth and a fifth, and get Grenard, who's been all pro for two different teams, and he can get to the pass. He can get there, and he plays linebacker well. So now you add him to the mix. So, I mean, they know they're not going to have A.J. Brown. I don't know what they're going to pick up for that. He's going to get something for that. But they did well.
Well, they're going to wait. The way that
it's got to be after the first, though.
Right. The way they're going to do A.J. Brown, this has already been out. You said they have to wait till after June 1st, because that way they can split the cap hit and put it over 2 years. So make the cap hit, I thought the number was $35 million, and they can split that they split it in half. So that way they can get by. I'll look it up, the cap number. But yeah, they're going to wait till June 1st to make the A.J. Brown trade. But supposedly it's a done deal. Philadelphia drafted the wide receiver that Pittsburgh was going to get.
And that's what he dropped.
Yep.
Because they said he was going to be early, maybe the Jets and somebody else.
Right.
He kept dropping down. He's the Biletnikoff Award winner, which is the best receiver in college football.
The best college football.
And he's just dropping down, and then you get him for A.J. Brown. And they're kind of the same type of stature type of guy. Strong, run after catch, different things like that. And perfect fit in there.
Well, yeah, here's the deal. Since we're talking wide receivers real quick, I'm going to get back because I don't want to come back, but throw this out right too. The Giants took Malachi Fields out of Notre Dame. He's 6'4" and 218. So he's got that tall, rangy look, a la the Plexico Burris body, I like to call it. So they didn't get the wide receiver in round 1, but I think they picked this guy up who's 6'4". I think he doesn't have the great speed, they say.
Right. But he can contest. He's good in contested catches.
He can get. That's it.
Yep.
He could catch the ball in traffic, sort of to speak. So he'll be great opposite Malik Neighbors.
And see, the word you just used, and I know you was using in terms of on the opposite side, but they're opposites.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, Neighbors are catching in traffic too, but he's a speed. He's
speed.
everything.
He's
He could do it.
everything.
He could do everything. Now you
Right.
got another guy that has his own. That's what you want
Right.
on your offense. So that was a very good pick. But we talked about it during this that the wide receiver is deep. So when they kept pushing him down like that, I said,
know.
"Oh, you can go in the second round. You're going to get a great receiver."
And that's it. And he actually dropped.
That's why the Browns were able to get Concepcion. And I'm rooting for him because that's a guy that would not really talk to people because, you know, he has that stuttering.
Yeah,
and, you know, and they said he went and talked to guys like Bo Jackson because of his, Lester Hayes, who was even worse.
Yeah.
And these guys had to learn to slow down.
Down.
They're so hyper. Slow down and talk.
Yeah,
take your time.
Right.
What if you have to repeat something?
That's okay.
Just slow down, talk.
That's okay.
But you can see this guy wants to succeed. Boy, we bring to talk about somebody and come on the TV, but Concepcion, if he can do what he did at A&M, get that ball in space, yeah, he could be a problem.
Yeah, the Browns
especially when you
basically
building
made the
offensive. Receivers.
Yeah.
Because even though what you call drop the ball all the time, he is a good route runner for the Browns. Jerry Jeudy, he run great routes.
He does route, yeah.
He just was concentration level gonna have to be better.
Yeah, that'll work better.
He got to step it up because he was a guy that came out of Alabama. There's a lot of people was after him. That's why Denver they went right after him because the guy was great at Alabama. And I don't know what happened to him, but I can't say he's terrible. He's just that now I think. You get all those receivers in there, and I forgot the other big receiver the Browns got. They got him in the draft last year, I believe. I can't think of his name, from Tennessee. But anyway, you got all these guys. Now you got a receiver room, which you needed, because that was awful. Nobody over 600, right?
No, 650.
650.
The Browns had no wide receiver. That's why if people start screaming and yelling, why did the Browns take 2 wide receivers? Well, their wide receivers last year, no wide receiver got over 650 yards. So I don't know if you can blame the line, you could blame a scheme, but
you got to do better.
You got to
than that.
do something. And I mean, this is the opportunity now.
It's time to do it.
This is a good draft, especially for the wide receivers.
Yep, and I like it because Jeudy is he's the veteran.
Yeah,
but he relatively still is young. So now you got a young core, and if let's say Shador could be the quarterback that they need, he just grows so much this season, and you say, well, I got our quarterback. Now they can grow together on that team and have a solid foundation. You know, I think they need to get another running back. You know, I love the guy from Ohio State and his physical play, but that's the thing about it. He's a physical running back for the Browns. He got injured, but that's a guy that he brings it. So you get some backup there. They got the other running back from Tennessee that did play, so that gives them that 2 different type of backs. But get another one and get your everything together there. The tight end stuff is taken care of. Fanning is going to be good. You add maybe a couple veterans there that can play too, because you like multiple tight ends. Improved offensive line, and the Browns defensive coach got the right idea. He knows Schwartz. He was coached with Schwartz. So instead of coming in and say, we're going to do this system, he's going to do the system he worked with Schwartz.
Yeah, so there's not going to be a radical change.
No, he just changing a lot more blitzing that he likes to do. So
right.
He's a guy that knows how to do it. So if that defense is going to be even more treacherous, that is going to be something, because that defense was something else. But they get worn down because they're on the field so long. So hopefully they can get that offense together.
Yeah, that's going to be the key right there. The key with the Browns is, I think, like you said, they're not doing crazy things defensively from a radical change. It's the guy that we should get up, the coordinator. I wanted.
Yeah, I can't think of it.
We'll look it up. But the running back is Junkins, is who you're
Yeah.
referring to. He was out last year, so
Yeah, later in the season, he got that injury. So
we'll come back. It's 1 hour in the books, a lot to get to. Saturday Morning Sports Page, Pat Lucia, Dave Clark, Western Reserve Radio. Back after this.
Youngstown, Warren, and Salem Sports Talk is on the iMedia1 Network. Western Reserve Radio, Western Reserve Radio 2, and City View Sportscast.
Are you ready to hit the gridiron and make your mark? The Cleveland Cobras are recruiting players and coaches for the upcoming Premier Amateur Football League season. We're looking for passion, grit, and the relentless drive to win. Whether you're a seasoned vet or hungry rookie, your shot starts now. Join a brotherhood, build a legacy, strike with the Cobras. Follow us on Facebook at Cleveland Cobras Football, or for league information, visit TAFLfootball.com to get started today. Team, pride, Cobras.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
If I could be you.
And you could be me for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Are you ready to join the legacy? This is your chance to become part of something special with the Youngstown Patricians. Honoring the proud football tradition of the Valley, we're on the lookout for talented post-high school athletes who want to make their mark on the field. Whether you're a seasoned high school athlete, college, or former professional player, develop your skills and become part of a team that values hard work, dedication, and community spirit. Don't wait. Begin your path to the gridiron by visiting youngstownpat.com or contacting us on Facebook at the Youngstown Patricians. Be bold, be legendary, join the Youngstown Patricians today.
Saturday Morning Sports Page back. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark.
you know what, Pat? You just mentioned something. Howard Roseman should be arrested. He should be arrested for robbery all the time. I forgot about that. You mentioned something on that A.J. Brown trade back in the day.
Back in the day when they got him from Tennessee
for a third
round.
I
believe it was third round because I was shocked.
It wasn't a first rounder or nothing like that.
No,
it was something similar to that.
Because I remember hearing that trade, and insane. I was, first of all, I couldn't believe. I can't believe that in 2022, the Tennessee Titans traded A.J. Brown for the 18th and 101. So I guess it was a first rounder. I stand corrected.
The first rounder.
He did get the 18th pick and the 101st picks. My bad. And
they probably used it on that Burke. I bet you that receiver they thought could fit right in and take.
Yeah, and that's ultimately what happened is
Trevor Burke. I forgot his name.
To clean up, that's Treylon Burks.
Yep,
yeah,
Treylon Burke.
You were 100%. Here's what they did is I was wrong. I thought it was a third round. It was not. The trade was the Eagles gave the Titans in 2022. They gave them a first-round pick, which was they used it to pick Treylon Burks, and a third-round pick, which was 101 overall, to the tight end. I'm not going to even say the first name. I guess it's called, I'll give it a shot, Chigoziem Okakowo.
Well, I'll give it to he has turned out to be a
and
good
he's
player.
actually a pretty good
Burks
tight end.
Has been just a journeyman, but
yeah,
he
Burks wasn't really.
Yeah, he was never.
He was really never lived up to being
that guy,
a first round overall, 18th pick in the draft. And again, that's what the Giants are doing with Thibodeau is they're going to trade him,
right?
Probably New Orleans, and that was looking back at that draft for the Giants. They drafted Thibodeau and Lloyd. What's his name? The big tackle.
Neil.
Mm-hmm. And Neil I don't even know if he's still on the team. I think maybe they're trying to make him a guard. He just never figured it out with the Giants at all. Thibodeau's been hurt a lot, but when he does play, he has shown you signs of some type of he can rush the passer. He's made some plays for them.
He's been injured a lot, though.
He's been injured a lot. Mm-hmm. He hasn't really maybe lived up. I believe he was the 6th pick or the 7th pick in the draft. They were back-to-back. I'll look it up. But the point is, Thibodeau was serviceable. You got something out of it. Neil was nothing. He was a bust.
Right.
And I look up to see if they're even trying to get something out of Neil because he was such a high draft pick.
Yeah.
He
was.
And he was terrible. He couldn't block anybody.
No.
He was a tackle and he was like a revolving door. People were just blowing by him.
Yep.
But the only thing that I always say, some of those linemen out of Alabama, I'm always a little leery of those big offensive tackles coming out of Bama because I remember Fluker came out with the Chargers and then they let him go to the Giants. He wasn't really that. I think they made him a guard.
Yeah, and
he actually
and that's
played
why
better as a guard.
Yeah, he's better. He was able to stay around in the league.
Yeah,
like that.
It was serviceable.
Yeah, he's serviceable
to
guy.
get something out of him.
Yeah, he was just a bum. But I tell you, back then, their offense was a mauler of a type offense. You had backs and our guy Henry. You had Mark Ingram. I mean, these are the backs that these guys were blocking for, and they didn't worry about I need to get my steps together for passing. They ran the football a lot, and these guys just mauled defensive lines back then. So when it came to the NFL, where you had to be a little bit more fluid, be able to get those feet moving, so you can get these pass rushers, these guys. Those tackles weren't that great.
No, they were not.
Now the ones they've been lately have been better. Like I think Proctor.
Well, Proctor hopefully will be.
He's an athlete to be that big, but
Caden Proctor.
Now so draft pick that I didn't mention about the Browns. We talked about the Browns with the 2 receivers and the offensive line. But you know what I think might be a steal for them? The safety from Toledo.
Yes.
They played with Quinshawn Mitchell. That guy McNeil Warren, to be, I think he's 6'3", 6'4", safety.
Yeah, they showed him last night.
Yeah, that right there was a guy that they thought might be a late first rounder, but because of all the trades and guys going after what they needed to fill, these guys dropped down in the draft and people were able to get them in the 2nd round. So it's just something, man. I mean, but I just mentioned that about Howard Roseman because they showing Jonathan Grenard right now terrorizing quarterbacks, and to get that guy for a 3rd and 4th rounder is just
Where did Proctor end up going?
Oh man, they showed it too because it's surprising he went in the 1st round too. He went in the 1st round.
Yeah, because I saw that he went later in the 1st. Let's see. Proctor ended up going to Miami. That's it. Offensive tackle. Yeah, Proctor went number 12 overall to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
The Evan Neal. Just so you're figuring what happened to him. Actually, this at least is hopefully a good sign for Giant fans. I'm hoping. Surprisingly, in March of 2020 March of this year, the Giants surprisingly re-signed offensive lineman Evan Neal to a 1-year minimum salary contract. Despite his 4 disappointing injury-plagued season, He was a top pick in 2022. He had injuries, and then he had just struggling the position. He's been spending time in Cleveland with trainer Charles Bentley with an attempt to hopefully save his career. So the Giants brought him back on a low-risk one-year deal, viewing it as a clean slate under new leadership with Harbaugh and new offensive coordinator, and hopefully maybe
Harbaugh and the coaches might could pull something out of him.
Maybe they could potentially get something out of him, maybe put him to guard.
You got to have some talent. You didn't go in Alabama and play that well.
And then
it
be
was
that
fake.
bad.
Yeah. And it was fake. No, he had to have some moments of doing something well. But can they pull it out? He just wasn't fit for the NFL.
Not at that time.
And not as a tackle, maybe. And then maybe they will keep him at tackle. But I know they shift him inside at guard. So if he could be a guy that could play down the line.
If he could stay healthy.
Maybe that.
And potentially they get him in the right scheme. We like to talk about it. But he gets with the right scheme, right team, right with the offensive line.
Yeah. Well, it would make me wonder, though. His head coach is John Harbaugh. What is one of the favorite things John Harbaugh like to do? Run the football.
He likes to run the football.
He likes running the football, and that's where he came from Alabama with great backs that they ran the football.
Right.
This might be something that really works out, and it's only a 1 year minimum.
It's only a 1 minute. So, yeah, it's no,
it's not hurting them.
No, not at all.
It's perfect. And then if he
ends
blooms,
up, right, if he blooms, it takes off, and he actually plays really good.
Yep.
That's like, well, wait a minute. Now.
That's like getting a draft pick almost.
It is.
That's what, like getting it
it's
over.
It's a 1 year deal, and it's a minimum salary.
Yep.
So he's not hurting the cap, but if you get anything out of him, he's only 25 years old.
Right.
So, I mean, he'll be 26 September, but he's young. I mean, it's like if they could get something out of him, if you're a Giant fan, that's hopefully a bonus. But, the A.J. Brown trade now, he will probably end up in New England. It's just a matter of waiting till June.
And Howie Roseman will get some more
Howie
picks.
Roseman will get more picks.
For next season.
They'll figure something out.
Or maybe even this season.
Or maybe.
Because he'll trade for some veteran.
Yeah.
Somewhere with some of those picks.
Yeah.
For the next year,
Howie's probably one of the best GMs, if not the best GM, especially when it comes to building a team and trading and going out and finding parts that fit. And he really knows how to build a roster.
Yeah, he can. He does. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I looked at Philly and I'm looking at all these guys he's bringing in. And when I seen that Grenard, I said, how in the world did he? But he was able to get them, and that just shores up the defense. Now I've been hearing something about teams are interested in McKee, the quarterback, the backup, Tanner McKee, that they may trade him, and I forgot where they said he might get. I forgot who they said he was trying to get if they do that.
Oh.
Let's see if they're going to show.
Oh,
McVay.
Howie.
Look at McVay. This is funny on TV because was another shock look when McVay found out that the Rams took Ty Simpson, even though he wanted him, but he had a situation where he could get him a little later. But he did want him. He said he needed to have a guy.
That's the problem with that is, Tanner McKee he's only 25 years old. He played at Stanford.
Yeah.
He's on the roster. He was drafted in the 6th round by Philadelphia out of Stanford.
Yeah, I don't know
2023.
I don't know who else they got on the roster as a quarterback for Philly.
We'll see if he ends up going somewhere, but he's on, like I said, he's still on the roster. But, yeah, I mean, the thing with the whole Ty Simpson is McVay wanted him, but, the thing was Ty Simpson said no one from the Rams called him. He just heard he got drafted by the Rams. But it comes out that Ty Simpson's family, very close relationship with the GM.
Yeah, right.
So I think they were going to draft him. Now, people say, well, you could have traded back and still got Ty Simpson and picked up a couple extra picks. But it's a situation where some of these teams want a guy, they don't care.
Yeah.
Like they're not, I know there's arguments that always say, well, you should never draft an offensive guard in the top 5 or top 10 because you could always trade back and get him. But then there's some teams that say, I don't care. If I draft this guy and I hit, nobody's ever going to go back and say, well, you should have traded back and you could have got him. If the guy comes in and he's an all-pro, nobody's going to go look back and say, you shouldn't have drafted him as high as you did.
Yeah.
If he's a great player, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Like, no one's going back in time to say, oh, yeah, you should have never drafted that guy at number 5 because he's a guard or a linebacker, and you're not supposed to draft that position that high in the draft.
Yeah.
But if you hit on those guys,
Yeah, it don't matter.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. I just think Ty Simpson, the thing about it, he already knew the Rams system.
Right.
Because DeBoer went to those camps of McVay's and took a lot of the things and used them at Washington.
They used it at Washington.
Brings it to Alabama. He knows everything with that.
Right.
And then he spent time with the Rams because of what you said, and why he was at Alabama, so he could sit there for another 2 years. Because I think Stanford, I think he will play this year and next maybe, and that's it probably. He's ready to end, but that's perfect for him to sit and learn. He'll be ready.
Sit under him and learn, and then they've got the other Stetson Bennett.
Yeah,
is the other backup now. Jimmy Garoppolo may retire.
Yeah, I think he will probably.
So he may get out, which means you're going to have Stetson Bennett and Ty Simpson as your 2 quarterbacks of the future. So I mean, to me, again, it doesn't matter. If they hit on Simpson and he develops and he's their starter 3 years down the road and he's playing good.
I think McVay just looked like that because there was certain areas he needed help now. But
I
think they picked up some more picks for later, so it might work out because all those guys got pushed down. Nobody knew that was going to happen.
But they always do good in the late rounds anyway. The Rams, if you see.
Oh, yeah, I know.
When you look at their drafts, like Nakua was, a 3rd-round pick?
Yeah.
Puka Nakua?
That's the guy that's with the Lions, the one that did that. Holmes, he's the GM of them. He went from the Rams to the Lions. He's the guy that has been good in building rosters. But the guy that was up under him, who's the Rams GM now, he just keeping the same thing going. So if they build teams really good, that's why Detroit do well. They got good organization as far as GMs. They got good GMs in picking talent. So.
Yeah. Nakua was a 5th-round pick.
Yeah.
So he's one of the best wide receivers in the league, and he went in the 5th round in 2023.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that, we talk about the draft all the time, but you look at some of the players that are great players now, and they were drafted which means today's draft from 4 to 7. You get a fair amount of guys that hit,
especially teams like that.
Right.
That's why I look. Rams will do good. Detroit. I always, before I used to question Howard Roseman, I never do that anymore, ever. This guy does stuff, all kind of things. And to be honest with you, I'm gonna give Jerry Jones credit too. They do pretty well in picking picks. It just seems like stuff just don't work out for them for some reason. But they do pick some great talented guys that go elsewhere, and then they fit perfectly.
Yeah, because that was the 2023 draft. That was the Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson, Anthony Richardson, and I'm just rattling off those guys. The top 5 was Devon Witherspoon went to Seattle. And look at Seattle, how they built their team.
Yeah. Well, they do good too.
And they do fantastic in the draft too. He built,
I got to start paying. I do watch. I watch football and listen to things. But a lot of times I like to try to learn about the other teams and don't really pay attention enough to the teams that I follow. The Eagles, the Raiders. And I didn't know that the Raiders had – I knew they had the guy from Seattle. They got the corner from Seattle. Witherspoon's still there, but the other Woolen, he was All-Pro, not last year, but the year
Year
before as a
before.
rookie.
Right.
And they got him for hardly nothing.
Yeah.
So he's in Philly, but I didn't know that they got Jonathan Jones too, who was All-Pro at New England, and was All-Pro at the Raiders too.
And then
and he's also on the Eagles roster.
Easter. See,
How in the heck did he get? I don't know how he got. I got to read to find out. I don't even know how he got
but
him.
that's Howie Roseman.
I don't understand how
He
how
does
you get
that.
these guys.
He knows how to work the deal.
How you get Hollywood Brown? I don't know.
Yeah, he picked him up. John Schneider is the GM
That
for the
guy's great,
Seattle
too.
Seahawks.
That's
He's
why he been
another
around. Yeah.
great GM that makes, again, he builds that team through the draft. He's one of the best. And then
Now, one thing I did read about Rosen, the guy that he learned from, if you remember this name, it ain't that long ago, so I know you remember, Carl Peterson.
Yep, Carl Peterson.
He learned under him.
He was with the Kansas City Chiefs.
And he's the one that got the thing of Patrick Mahomes. They didn't know if they should get him. He said, get Patrick Mahomes. Get him first. He can learn under Smith, and he'll be right. That draft on from there, and Peterson was still with him, but then got, I don't know if it was cancer or something, and he was out from then. But he was a very good GM who really was part of when I think of the USFL and being part of that territorial draft back then, he was with the Stars at that time. So the Philadelphia Stars, he was a guy that knew how to build a football team. So to see that happen, and maybe got to give him some credit and Howie Roseman, but he just kept getting smarter and smarter. But those guys, like you said, the Rams, Detroit, we done talked about, and Snyder been around for quite some time.
Well,
in Seattle, he keeps building a team.
He picked Price out of Notre Dame. The other, Jadarian Price out of Notre Dame, he was the last pick in the first round. They let Kenneth Walker go.
Mm-hmm.
But then the GM, and some people say that Jadarian Price doesn't have quite the tread on the tires. He never started.
No, he never started at Notre Dame at all.
He never started at Notre Dame, but when you watch him play, you're like, this guy
is a true starter.
A lot of people said there's not a big difference between he and the other. What's his name?
Oh yeah, I mean they always talking about it,
right? That they were saying that Love, thank you, Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. There's not a big difference in the running backs. They said Jeremiah Love is definitely the great player, but this Price isn't bad. I mean, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he is,
and he's somewhat comparable to Jeremiah Love. And Seattle picks him up on the last pick in the first round. So that's where they filled Kenneth Walker's spot.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're going to be, again, Seattle's going to be in the discussion potentially to maybe repeat as a Super Bowl champ because they're loading up. I mean, they've got the young kid out of Notre Dame now, Jadarian Price.
Yeah. To go with the guys they still have.
They still have the current running back crew there. They lost Kenneth Walker.
Charbonneau is still there.
Yeah, Charbonneau.
By the time he get healthy, now you got 1-2 punch.
You got a great 1-2 punch.
Still be like you were before.
Yeah. So
and younger.
You haven't You've got younger, and now you've got a great running back potentially in Price.
Yeah, it's something because they were showing the backs that ever came out and did that. I remember Cadillac Williams.
They did. Yeah,
and Ronnie Brown.
Ronnie Brown and Cadillac,
and then Felix Jones and Darren McFadden.
And Felix Jones out of Arkansas.
Right, and I remember Raiders took McFadden and Jones was like, I wanted him, but since that's where he was from. He played for Arkansas in college. So he went and took the other one. He took Felix Jones. If people remember the Cowboys.
Felix Jones.
And he had a good career with him.
He had a really good career.
So, I mean, you don't get too many times you get top backs like that on the same team. But Price never started, but you could tell that he's a starting type of running back. So that was great. And he was on a lot of the mocks to be there, but we started to win. But they definitely stuck and got that. So I think they can keep it going. If they can keep everything going, they're going to be tough. once again.
I like I said, when you look at the draft and some of the play, like I said, I think the other Texas did, I thought, really good picking up McDonald out of Ohio State in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
And now that defense, I'm thinking you're going to put this guy on that defense?
Yeah. Yeah, well, they needed somebody down the middle.
Down the middle.
Because I'm going to tell you.
And he's a big guy. He's going to clog
there
that.
He is on. See, every time we speak of a person, he comes right on. There he is, walking and crying.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean.
Right. He's 6'3", 230. He's 6'3", 326.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State.
Yep.
And he was the second round, 36th pick overall. I saw him last night. He was crying. He couldn't stop crying.
No, couldn't.
And he said, "Good." He's always with the Children's Hospital, helping the. He seems like a gentle giant. He's down there, with the Children's Hospital with the kids and helping them out. And he likes, you could just see he's just like this great laid back guy.
Yep.
And he played great for the Buckeyes. I mean, he was one of their best linemen. And now you put him in that Houston defense. They need a run stopper.
Mm-hmm.
You put him in the middle with the rest of that Houston defense.
And that's something.
There's
our draft analysis so far through 3 rounds. The top teams. They're at number 2 now. They got the Jets.
The Giants
was 3.
The Giants are 3. I mean,
Philly was.
New York fans have to be happy.
Yeah,
all sides of the coin.
New York. Yeah,
New York. Yeah, both New York teams have to be happy with this draft. I know it's a draft, but it looks like they've got the Giants. I like
Houston too. There they go.
Arvell Reese. Yeah, and you've got Caden McDonald. I think they did. The Jets and Giants did well, and then you throw Houston in.
Who's number 1? I want you to guess who's number 1.
Oh,
they picked so far
in the pick so far. If I were to say, it's either the Browns or the Jets.
The Browns.
It's the Browns. Yeah.
Browns.
I've
top,
read
Jets is second, Giants 3rd, Houston 4th, and Philly is 5th. Most improved through the draft so far. That's something.
So you've got the. This is going to be interesting because, like I said, I think when you look at a team like the good teams, but now you've got Houston. You're adding Caden McDonald, to that Houston defense. Yep. They're going to be absolutely, they were great last year. And now you're bringing a guy like and he could definitely stuff the run. He's got the big body. Again, guy's got a giant neck. He's a big guy.
Yeah, they're gonna. I'm telling you that because they're edge rushers. What you going to do with Will Anderson and Hunter?
No, that's the other thing. If you're
them.
A defensive or an offensive coordinator and you're playing Houston, and McDonald's only 21, he's just turned 21.
Right.
Now, he's a young guy, but you got a guy like this, and then if you're figuring you're the offense and you're going to get ready for the Houston Texans, how do you handle that defense? Especially now you have McDonald in the middle. And then you got, like you said, you got the 2 edge guys coming out. I don't know what the hell you do.
It's gonna be rough sledding, as they say.
He's from Texarkana, Arkansas, McDonald. Caden McDonald is from, he went to high school down in Georgia, North Gwinnett High School in Georgia. He was born in Texarkana, Arkansas, but he grew up in Atlanta area.
Okay.
And North Gwinnett High School is outside of Atlanta. And that's where he went to high school, and then he went from there and he committed to Ohio State, and he played his career with the Buckeyes. So he's from 23 to 25, and he's going to be, he's another great player. But you look at some of the guys where they found and where these guys are going in the current teams that they're on. People say, well, why would Houston draft defense? Well, they needed the run stopper.
Yeah, they needed something up the middle.
They needed a guy up the middle.
And they already got one. They need the other tackle, and now you got him.
Now you got him.
And now the other guy you had on, you still got rotational. You always want to have that. Keep guys fresh.
Always rotate the guys in and out, which they like to do anyway. That's why I like with the Giants and Arvell Reese. People are, what are they going to do with them? Harbaugh's going to figure this out because that's the guy you could bring and put in different packages, and with that long body, and he's strong, and he's going to develop and get bigger and stronger. Then he'll be if you're an offensive coordinator, you won't know what to do. What do you do with Arvell Reese, especially if he starts to develop and he can move and get in and blitz or drop back in coverage? He's going to, and with that long body, he could drive a lot of offensive coordinators crazy.
Yep.
So we're halfway through the show. So we'll be back after a quick timeout. We'll talk a little NBA and draft also. Saturday Morning Sports Page, Western Reserve Radio.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Lena's Pierogi House is your home for the area's best variety of pierogies. Daily specials include the Polish platter, the Hungarian platter, stuffed cabbage, and halushki. Having a last-minute get-together? Lena's has you covered with a wide variety of frozen take-home pierogies and dumplings. Go to Facebook at Lena's Pierogi House to see the weekly lineup of available flavors for dine-in or carry-out. Catch the best at Lena's Monday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 20 North Main Street in Hubbard or call 234-254-8532.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
This is Jerry Snodgrass, Executive Director of the Ohio High School Athletic Association. One of my long-standing goals is to help people understand that high school sports are about so much more than wins and losses. The OHSAA promotes education-based athletics, where sports are an extension of the classroom. Our schools all want to win. There's no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, it's all about sportsmanship, leadership, and making certain that academics are a priority. Thank you for your support of high school sports in Ohio.
Saturday Morning Sports Page back. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark, 330-707-4202. Get in and talk sports. We do it every Saturday morning here. Here is Western Reserve Radio. We go to noon today. So if you want to get us, just you can Google Western Reserve Radio. If you want, you can get it online anywhere. Get it on your iPhone. Yeah, we were kind of going through draft. I know we started getting a little NBA. And the NBA playoffs are getting really interesting. A lot more interesting maybe in years past. I guess last night, the Philadelphia 76ers they lost last night to the Boston Celtics at home. It's a 2-1 series. Philly got blown out in game 1, but came back and beat Boston in game 2, and they dominated Boston in game 2.
Yeah, sure did.
But Philly came back and made it a game and could almost pulled it out. Boston's lucky to be up 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
This as much as nobody was giving Philadelphia a chance, Philadelphia could maybe make this a 7-game series. The way I'm watching these series right now, Boston should win this series, but don't rule Philly out. And I could see Philly pushing it 7 games.
Yeah.
Now, Embiid's still not playing, and I don't know if he's going to play in the series.
Right.
Probably not, because he's had the appendicitis, the surgery for it. So he's probably not able to play. But when you look at these, and then last night, other games that happened, Boston beat Philly 108-100 yesterday, go up 2-1. The Lakers beat the Houston Rockets, and they're up 3-0. We had picked Houston to win the series. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm almost to the Lakers. Luka's not playing. He's hurt. Austin Reeves isn't playing. But I almost think the Lakers look better with LeBron and without Luka and Austin Reeves because I think they play better. I mean, they've won 3 games, and LeBron, I know, is 41, but he's father time. He just is his time less. I mean, he just continues to perform at a unbelievable high rate, and he's a free agent. This will be, where's LeBron going to go after this year? This is going to get real interesting. But I mean, it looks like Houston's done. Houston had that game won in the fourth quarter. I watched that game, and the Lakers were up, and then Houston came back, and then Houston went ahead in the fourth quarter with 30 some odd seconds. We're up 6, and they had 2 turnovers. The Lakers they had a 3-point play, and a foul shot, 3 foul shots, and a 3-pointer. They tied the game.
Right.
And then they won. And I knew when the Lakers tied that game and forced overtime, it was over.
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew they were done. Houston was finished.
Yeah, that was shocking how they came back there.
Durant didn't play last night.
No.
But I'm watching Houston play. They play like they're not in sync.
Probably not.
They're not. I mean, I watched the 3 games that I've seen with the Lakers. I know I didn't watch a lot of Houston during the year, and they had a great record, but they had a pretty good record, but they look out of sync.
But they look like that a lot during the year because the big problem is sitting on the bench.
With the torn ACL.
Van Fleet.
Van Fleet
is the guy that will calm everything down, and their record would have been better if they had him.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have a real true point guard, so they used to overwhelm teams because their starting 5, the shortest guy was Tony Eason at 6'8".
Right.
Everybody else was 6'10", 11,
right.
or 7 feet.
They're long, right?
So that's what they played with, and they sometimes Durant would bring it down, sometimes Eason would bring it down, sometimes even Smith, who plays center, would bring it down. These guys never had a real point guard, so when things get all out of whack, they don't have that guy, that glue that brings everything down. So they don't look good. When things start going bad, they go bad for them.
Boy, and they do.
Yeah. So they overwhelm teams during the regular season because of their talent and their size. But now it's the same team. Teams will figure it out and see how to beat you, And they try to hang around with the Lakers, but it's a tough battle. Now, if they did have Reeves and I don't know, Luka, I mean,
I don't know what it is.
I think they will get stomped because if they play, when they do play together and they're on sync, they're hard to handle, the Lakers then.
To see the problem I have when Luka's playing, he pounds the ball and he seems to take the other players out of the picture, sort of, and then he shoots. And then they don't get back down on defense. And their defense isn't that good. But when Luka's not playing, and now Reeves is pretty good, but now they've gone with LeBron still gets the other players involved in the game. That's what it's always been. LeBron has been maybe the greatest player to do that, to facilitate like he does. He gets all those other players. The team does play better with LeBron with holding the ball because LeBron knows how to facilitate the ball. He does. And it was 41. And, I'm not even going to go talk about all, the noise that LeBron does have a tendency to create. That's got nothing to do with the court. talking about the focus on the court, LeBron is still, I think, one of the best players to facilitate and make everybody on the team better. That's always been his game. LeBron's always done a great job at that, and he continues to do so. And the Lakers look better. And if I'm out west, if there's a team out in the West that could maybe surprise somebody, it's that team. It's the Lakers. But if Luka comes back, I don't think they're going to be that good. But if they keep Luka on the bench, I know this sounds totally insane.
Yeah, that'll never happen.
It ain't gonna happen.
No, it's
but
not.
Dave, do you agree what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, he does shoot the ball, but it's geared to him.
But he gets everybody in. Like the team plays better.
Yeah, well, when you're moving the ball, that's what you want to do. You want to move the ball. Any team should want to move the ball because they play better.
They play better.
A la New York Knicks, who when they get into that lull, they do the same thing.
They do the same thing with Brunson. I like Brunson, but again,
they can't do that.
They can't do that.
That's how they won that in-season tournament. They played so well together and didn't do that. Did they do it sometimes? Yeah, but now it's too much, and it causing them to lose the game.
No,
and that's what the Lakers used to do. They used to be up by 12, 15,
and then lose.
And that's what happened. You get Luka to shooting.
But then Luka gets...
And if he's not hitting,
no,
it's long rebounds and teams are off and running.
And then your defense can't ever get back, and the teams get the easier shots. But it seems to me, watching the Lakers, is that I'm watching LeBron play, and I know he's old, but he's still playing good, and he still facilitates the ball, and he makes the team better.
Yeah. Yeah, you just got to figure out.
And I mean, I know Luka's not going anywhere. You're right; they're going to play him.
He's the guy.
He's the guy.
I mean, Luka. So I know it's not going to change.
No,
but you can play him. But you got to play him a certain way when you do so, because most of the times he's the guy that facilitates.
They don't play that well under him. Yeah. With LeBron, they play great, but that's LeBron's. That's always been LeBron's MO.
That's why he get to get the ball more.
Right.
He's got to be able to bring. They almost got to do it halfway. But I think if Luka is just on the wing hanging around, that is completely out of his game.
That's not his game. But see, the problem I have, I think, the conflict with the Lakers is when Luka's in there, LeBron will step back and let Luka do his thing.
Right.
And I don't think they're that good when they're doing that. But when Luka's not in the picture, LeBron's taking over, and LeBron really knows how to facilitate the ball, but he contributes, but he also facilitates the ball around and gets everybody involved. And the Lakers have some really great players that I think you forget about them because Luka's got the ball and Luka's pounding the ball, and the other guys are standing and watching him, and then Luka will hoist up the three-pointer.
Well, I just think that's JJ's job to allow there be parts where Luka do have the ball, just like he does.
Yeah.
And then you switch, you have LeBron, and you go back and forth. That's instead of just staying that way. When it started getting stagnant, that's when the problems happen. But I've seen him play where Luka have it for several, and then all of a sudden he flips it to LeBron, he brings it down. Luka still gets the ball because they flip it to him, wide open shot. Boom.
Right.
Austin Reeves is the guy that just blends in with
But he
whoever.
blends in anyway. See,
you don't care who's that.
No, if you had Austin Reeves on this team, they would win because Austin Reeves plays and he knows how to basically.
he knows how to play with both.
He could play with everybody.
But I think JJ just stays with that same offensive system all too long.
Yeah,
you got two great players. They do things in different ways. You can do. I can't say Luka doesn't facilitate because he's always high in assists.
Yeah, he does, but
you gotta have the right guy. You gotta have he's a pick and roll guy because he's perfect with his shooting ability.
Right.
But they don't run pick and roll all the time. They should. That's why Ayton was complaining early in the season because that's what they need to do. Because if you do that, they'll be killing people.
Right.
Or they'll kill people because what you gonna do? Come to Luka and double, and he gives it to Ayton, who's a good athlete.
That's it.
And he's a good athlete, too. He can score.
He could score.
And that's what I'm saying. You flip back now, LeBron's bringing it down. You could dominate, but they don't do that. They stay stagnant in a certain offense. They start getting good, They just stay like that, and then before you know it, it gets stagnant, and teams come back and beat them.
I mean, LeBron to me is still. I mean, It'll be interesting to see what happens at the end of this year where LeBron's going.
Yeah,
because I don't
you
think
might
he's
stay there. You might.
Well, what will get interesting because then you have the contract. How much does he want? There's cap issues. Re-signing him. If he becomes a free agent, there's teams that are going to have to clear cap. LeBron's due a lot of money unless LeBron wants to take a veteran minimum to go somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
This will be interesting this year to see ultimately LeBron will be a free agent and ultimately he will be out. Now, Golden State is obviously Curry's got 1 year left on his deal. Evidently, Kerr won't be back as head coach. We don't know that. That's not official.
Right.
But that seems to be the rumor out there. So we'll see.
That makes me think LeBron will get there.
That's what I was thinking. Kerr's contract is up. So he's not even under contract now. So he's a free agent coach if that's but he's not even under contract with Golden State. So, and Draymond has a player option, I believe, for something in the neighborhood of $29 million, which isn't too crazy because $29 million anymore when you look at these contracts is like, okay. So Draymond can opt out and be a free agent. Curry does have 1 year left on his deal. I think that paying him $62 million or something in the neighborhood of that. I can look this up. But the whole point of it is Curry does have a year left, but then he's a free agent. And Curry's is not a player option. It's actually a year. So he has to play there 1 more year or they trade him.
Right.
Draymond can opt out and be a free agent, and he can go anywhere he wants. Kerr doesn't look like he's coming back. At least that's what everybody thinks. He's not under contract. And I have to believe that Golden State offered him a contract. He didn't want it. Because why would Golden State doesn't, they would want him back as head coach.
Yeah, you think.
You would think, right?
You would think so. But
so what happens with Golden State? And then now we've got LeBron being a free agent, but then there's going to be teams out there.
There's be other teams. But
LeBron's not done.
Do he want to leave the West Coast? Maybe
well,
not. See, he's keeping real close if he stay at Golden State.
Right. Or does he go to the Clippers across town? I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there because
that's something too.
One thing watching the Lakers last night and watching them beat Houston now it's 3 straight, and they're going to win. They'll probably either sweep the series or lose game 4 and win game 5 in LA. You know that the series is over there. But then they will play OKC next, because I don't think Phoenix is going to give OKC, and you've got them. I think you had them 4-1. I had a sweep, so we know that OKC will win that series.
I was being kind,
and you were being kind. You were going with the gentleman's sweep.
Yep, I was trying to say.
You got maybe Phoenix will squeeze a game, and you're probably right. That'll happen.
Yeah, I guess they can.
Maybe they can. So then LeBron will get OKC next round, and again, I'm thinking. I don't know if they're better off.
Yeah, no.
With no Luka, I don't know if it matters because OKC's in another.
Yeah,
but
you need everybody. When you playing them?
And I don't know. And I know then they've beaten the Lakers soundly during the year, and I don't know if anybody's going to beat OKC anyway.
Yeah, it might be somebody that I just think you need everybody in the stable for the Lakers to be anywhere close. But these other teams might give them problems. Might give OKC problems.
Well. Let's look at that. So, here's your situation now. San Antonio won last night. I did not stay up for this game. It was way too late. San Antonio won 120-108 over Portland. It was a close game. I didn't realize it was that bad. It was close. When I went to bed, it was tied.
Okay.
In the second half. And they were back and forth the whole game.
For a while, Portland
Portland was leading.
9
yeah,
points.
They were up 9.
Yeah.
And I thought if Portland wins this game, they go up 2-1. Portland being the 7th seed, could they beat the 2 seed? But San Antonio with no Wemby's out with the concussion, did not play, but San Antonio was able to pull that game out.
Yeah, that was big.
And that was a big game. Yeah, they won it in the fourth quarter. They actually won it in the second half because they outscored Portland in the second half, in third quarter, 29-22, and then they just kind of did away with them in the fourth quarter. They outscored them 32-21. So they outscored them by 18 points in the second half. They won by 12.
Right.
They're actually down at halftime. But San Antonio came back and won the game. They go up 2-1. So, but the Spurs will ultimately get, I thought, Denver, but now Denver's down 2-1 to Minnesota. And Minnesota's outplaying Denver. And tonight's game is 8:30, Denver at Minnesota. Minnesota looks to go up 3-1. And you got to look at it this way. If Minnesota goes up 3-1, I think this series is over.
Yeah. Yeah, if they can get it to 3-1.
Because Denver and the New York Knicks are in the same boat now.
Yeah.
Knicks are in the same boat as they're down. They have to play Atlanta today at 6 o'clock.
They got to win.
They got to win or the Knicks are gone. And we said it coming over. If the New York Knicks lose to Atlanta in the opening round, I hate to say it, but Mike Brown's out. They'll fire him, right? He's out.
Yeah.
Because you cannot, after firing Thibodeau last year that got you into the conference finals and you fire him and you had no coach because you went around and around and around. You didn't know who to hire, and that was Dolan.
Yeah.
Wasn't Rose didn't do that. The GM had nothing to do. Everybody knows that Thibodeau got fired by Dolan, the owner, because they had no coach. Like, okay, you're going to fire your coach. You usually have an idea who you're going to replace him with. Well, they didn't have that.
No, they had no idea.
No idea. Then around and around and around. And Mike Brown's a good coach. He's not a great coach, but he's a good coach. I think he's a solid coach.
Right.
The problem you have with the Knicks, though, expectation is you got to get to the conference finals.
I think you get rid of Thibodeau. You need to bring in, nothing against Mike Brown,
No.
but a high-profile guy that's proven, somebody.
Somebody, right.
I couldn't, you know what? I tell you who I would have brought in, but he's in North Carolina now. I would bring not Mark Malone, but Malone. I can't think of his first name.
Yeah, Mark Malone.
Yeah. No, that's the quarterback. I don't think his name is Mark. It could be, though. He could be his first name, but Malone is the guy I would have got because he's already won an NBA championship, taking Denver there, and he was available. You just bypass
Michael Malone.
You just bypass him. He wasn't even mentioned.
No, he was out there.
And I don't know what a lot of teams was just bypassing. So he's at North Carolina now. But why don't you get somebody like that? He's got the resume for it. But you get Mike Brown. He has a resume too of being on, as assistant at Golden State and this and that. But come on, man, you didn't have no plan, Dolan.
No.
So you let that team flounder around. And then you get a coach and hope that thing's on the players think about that. It's like, we don't even know who our coach is. They don't think that discussion did not come up. Because you get rid of Thibodeau and then don't have nobody in place. That's not a good look.
No, and he got you to the conference finals.
Right.
It wasn't like, okay, the team wasn't any good.
I know he wears on people,
but
does. Still.
He does wear. He does a lot of minutes. He's a tough guy, but he wears the players out. I get it. But he gets results, and he got you to the conference finals last year.
Yeah.
And one Hail Mary basket by Indiana, the Knicks probably would have been in the finals. They lost that one game they should have won in Madison Square Garden. That shot. I'm trying to think who it was. It was desperation. Well, he's out this year.
The guard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Desperation. Top player, but desperation. He's the one that was having the big discussions during the championship with I forgot. His dad. His dad was the guy they wanted to put out the arena. But
yeah.
Remember that? So I just, it was just ill-fated the way they did that. Dolan should have had somebody in place. If he didn't, hey, let's run it back with Thibodeau. If things get worse.
And then you could have fired him during the...
Whatever you had to do is get rid of him. But don't do it like that.
Halliburton.
Don't do it like
Tyrese
that.
Halliburton, who's out this year with he ruptured the Achilles Game 7 of last year in the finals. He was the one that made the shot against the Knicks, and the Knicks lost that game, and they never recovered. And the Knicks do that. They give games away in playoffs. It cost them, and it's going to cost them this year. I don't think they're going to win. I think they're going to lose to Atlanta. They gave that game 2 away to Atlanta this past year, 4 days ago. They gave that game away. They should be up at least 2-1 in this series. Mm-hmm. Now they're down 1-2. Today is game 4. Well, they lose today, they're gone because they're down 3-1. It's over. They need to win tonight's game or today's game at 6 o'clock to get it to 2-2. And then they're going to have to work hard because I think even if they win today, it'll be a 7-game series. And I don't know if they're going to win. But then they have a grind. And then we don't know. Everybody assumed they're playing Boston. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're going to be playing Boston because I'm not counting Philadelphia out of this picture.
Yeah. Yeah, it's strange. It's strange.
And then Denver is that's where we started this, but Denver is in the same boat. They got absolutely handled. Game 3 against Minnesota. I watched a little of the game. I went to bed. They were never in the game. Denver Nuggets got destroyed by Minnesota. Game 3. Minnesota plays good against Denver.
Yeah.
They're young. Yeah, they play good.
Denver
can't hang with them.
Yeah, no.
It's a bad matchup for Denver.
Yeah.
It really is. And they look, to me, what's going to be great games to watch is you got Cleveland, Toronto today. Toronto's looking to even the series. That's the 1 o'clock game.
Mm-hmm. It's 2-1 there, right?
That's 2-1 Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Toronto at home looking to even the series up. Now, Cleveland can win tonight and go up 3-1. Then they'll hopefully win Game 5 in Cleveland and be done with the series, which you think would happen, but they got to win today.
Right.
Toronto wants to make it a series. If they win, what's the old saying? You're still in the series as long as you haven't lost a home game.
Right.
So Toronto potentially could be in this series if they win tonight. Right. So we'll have to wait. That'll be a game at 1 o'clock. But then again, you're looking at this Denver, and Denver's they're like the Knicks, but Denver has looked really bad against Minnesota.
Yeah.
I mean, the Knicks have been very competitive with Atlanta. They haven't blown they haven't blown them out. The Knicks blow games like they did Game 3.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, Denver hasn't even been competitive with Minnesota.
Yeah. They both situations are surprising to me because even though the game looked like it was over in Game 2,
right,
with
Atlanta,
I thought it's over.
No,
and then they still because I actually
C.J. McCollum, man, yes,
but then at the end. The Knicks still had a chance.
They still had a chance to
win
win
the game. They had a good
game.
look and everything, missed the shot.
And they missed. Well, that was that big deal with the timeout. That was NBC's screw-up, and that's what got a lot of people upset because you're watching the game, and NBC says the Knicks got the ball with 6 seconds left, and everyone says, well, they got a timeout. They didn't have a timeout. NBC told you they had a timeout, and they didn't.
Right.
And then the next pay, everybody was like complaining about NBC, saying, what the hell's NBC doing? Telling everybody, the viewer, you're all sitting there thinking that the Knicks had that timeout. Why didn't the Knicks take the timeout? And they're all yelling at Mike Brown. He should be fired for not taking the timeout. Well, he didn't have a timeout.
Right.
And it turns out, NBC screwed up.
Yeah.
When they told you he had the timeout.
Because the fans.
And that got the fans all fired up.
Yeah. He would have got that and would have got a technical.
He would have got a technical. Game over.
Right.
So the point is, and that's the whole thing. It's like the Knicks could have won that game.
Uh-huh.
They lost, and then the game 3 they came back, but Brunson never got a shot up at the end. But to me, they rely too much on him. I like him. He's a great player. He's a tough guy, but he doesn't play that good at defense because he's too small.
Yeah,
and people keep complaining about it. But I said he's only 6 foot.
Yeah.
And he's not quick. He's stocky, and he can't defend these guys. Well, they're bigger and stronger and quicker.
They need another outlet guy.
Yeah.
I know you want him to get it if you can, but then you got to have that outlet guy. You got to have
a second guy
that can to create his own shot. Somebody, and they don't have it.
And he never got the shot off in Game 3, and they lost.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks.
They got to come out and handle these guys.
Today, Game 4 in Atlanta.
They got to handle. I mean, don't let it be close.
No, they'll find a way to lose it. We got another hour left to get to. Saturday Morning Sports Page, Pat Lucia, Dave Clark, back after this. Western Reserve Radio.
Sherman Gillums Jr., Paralyzed Veterans of America.
For more than 70 years, Paralyzed Veterans of America has helped hundreds of thousands of veterans get all the benefits they have earned.
Al Kovac Jr., Paralyzed Veterans of America.
You're listening to WRDB, Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, Warren, Salem, and around the world.
Are you ready to hit the gridiron and make your mark? The Cleveland Cobras are recruiting players and coaches for the upcoming Premier Amateur Football League season. We're looking for passion, grit, and the relentless drive to win. Whether you're a seasoned vet or hungry rookie, your shot starts now. Join a brotherhood, build a legacy, strike with the Cobras. Follow us on Facebook at Cleveland Cobras Football, or for league information, visit TAFLfootball.com to get started today. Team, pride, Cobras.
Located in Applewood Estates in Boardman Township, the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club offers a pleasant family environment. Choose a membership that meets your needs and enjoy a relaxing venue that includes not only swimming for the family, but also youth activities such as competitive swimming, tennis, and more. Enjoy the friendly atmosphere all summer long with the staff and members of the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club. For more information, go to applewoodswimandtennis.com or call 330-953-2833.
Village Tavern's been a beloved local landmark in Hubbard, Ohio for nearly a century, and now it's better than ever. Recently renovated and still serving up the same warm hospitality, the Village Tavern is your go-to spot for great food, cold drinks, and a laid-back atmosphere. Whether you're stopping in for dinner, catching up with friends, or just looking to relax, you'll enjoy a full menu of American favorites, rotating drink specials, and friendly service that makes every visit memorable. Be sure to visit the Village Tavern at 746 North Main Street in Hubbard, right next to Repair That Glass. To learn more, go to villagetavern3.com. Are you tired of switching apps just to catch your favorite shows and live events? Say hello to the iMedia1 Network app, your one-stop destination for streaming and everything that matters. From national sports to exclusive local content, Western Reserve Radio, Western Reserve Radio 2, and City View Sportscast are now all in one place, anytime, anywhere. Download the free iMedia1 Network app on iOS and Android and unlock the future of sports audio in the palm of your hand. The iMedia1 Network, your sports app in the Valley.
Saturday Morning Sports Page back. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark, 330-707-4202. Yeah, Dave, we were talking a lot, the NBA. Denver is on the ropes. The Knicks are on the ropes. Mm-hmm. I thought for a minute the Spurs were going to be on the ropes, but they won last night. They go up 2-1. Now, I'm not sure. Wembanyama did not play because of the concussion, but he is questionable probably for Game 4. Mm-hmm. So if you break it down and you look at the NBA, real quick, and you look at the schedule here, again, the Lakers won last night. They're up 3-0. They're going to look to sweep, and that they could do that, I believe, Sunday. Yeah, Sunday night at 9:30, NBC. The Lakers look to sweep Houston. Today, Detroit at Orlando. Now, this has been a weird series because Orlando did win Game 1. They lost Game 2. Orlando, the 8th seed, playing pretty good. Detroit's problem is, after Cunningham, they don't really have anybody that can really put points up consistently. Mm-hmm. I mean, this could be a series, too. The 8th seed Orlando goes, this is Game 3 today at 1 o'clock on Peacock and NBC Sportsnet.
Right.
But the point is, Orlando could make this like a 7-game series. It's 1-1. Don't count Orlando out.
Right. Yeah, you can't. I mean, they seem to play well.
And they're physical.
And they're physical, and they had success during the regular season against Detroit.
They did.
One of the few teams that did. So they're confident in playing them. There's not like a fear factor, and they're confident. So that's always an issue. So somebody's got to step up offensively, other than Cade Cunningham.
Yeah.
And because if they get where it's just him, and then Orlando has a tendency to have 3-4 players with like 18 points. They just contribute. Sometimes Banchero will go off and he'll get 30 points at any time because he's a great talent.
He's a great talent.
But he gives the ball up
but
to
he
every
does
guy.
give it.
Everybody's
he
all
distributes
involved.
Around.
Yeah, their whole team is involved. So
that is.
Once they get going as a team, they are a hard team to deal with.
And they're young.
They're young. They run. They play physical. They don't back down.
No, they don't play. That's one thing. They're kind of rough riders. They're tough.
Don't play scared.
No, they don't.
So,
I mean, they're kind of a young and they're kind of like they're young and they're tough and they don't mind the physicality and they got the players.
And you think that's big bad Detroit. You're supposed to bow down.
Number
they didn't
seed.
get that memo. Mm-mm. They don't get those memos. They do what Orlando want to do, and it's really one of the better teams since the old days of the Shaq and
the Shaq Kobe,
Shaq
the old Orlando,
the old Orlando.
The old 90s.
You didn't want to play them with Nick Anderson,
Nick Anderson,
and Penny Hardaway. You didn't want Penny Hardaway.
Yeah, if he didn't blow
get injured,
the knee,
that was every bit of like people saying. No, they're not the same player, him and Michael Jordan, but to be able to take over a game and be unstoppable. Yeah, he was like that. You could not. He'd do whatever he wanted to do, and when he wanted to do it. But
that team was good with Penny, and they had Shaq, Nick Anderson.
Yeah, they've had a team across the board.
They did. That was a good Orlando team. Yeah. They lost those finals, forget 95 finals. Yeah. Nick Anderson missed those free throws. They beat to Houston.
Scott was the guy that could always shoot the threes.
Yep.
You had Horace Grant, the veteran, to hold things together. That was a very good
team.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could have been like I said. Yeah, Scott was the other guy.
Yeah, I just forgot his first name, but he came from
played
Georgia
for
Tech.
Georgia Tech.
Yep, and would not
Byron Scott.
No. Dennis Scott.
Dennis Scott.
I had to think about it. 3D.
Yeah,
3D was his nickname, so I said Dennis Scott. Yep, because that guy would not miss.
I believe Dennis Scott. Was he on the Georgia Tech team that got to the semifinals in 1990?
Yep. He was with them guys, I believe.
And they got beat by Duke. And then Duke got destroyed by UNLV in 1990. And that UNLV, that might have been one of the best college teams.
Oh, my God.
That 1990 UNLV team with Larry Johnson and Anthony.
Yeah, I forgot about him. Greg Anthony.
Greg Anthony was on that team. That was really a
They had another guy, Anderson. I forgot what he is. He was another guy. They was just unstoppable, that team. That team was Tarkanian and the boys was ridiculous. I used to always go for them because I like Tarkanian because they always talking about him, talking down about Tarkanian, blah, blah, blah. And he was the guy that would give anybody an opportunity to come and play basketball. I don't care what your past has been. He give guys.
Yeah, he had Larry Johnson, Anderson Hunt, Stacey Augmon.
Stacey Augmon.
Greg Anthony. And they had the big center, David Butler, and then Moses Scurry.
Yeah.
The forward, long, 6'7".
And people used to be scared.
Yep.
They would scurry away from Scurry. Remember him? Because he could rebound. Guys would get away from that dude. Yep. He's so physical.
And Larry Johnson on that team, and Greg Anthony was the point guard. He could make it happen. That was one of the best teams to play.
Before he got injured.
Yep.
That was one of the most explosive big guys I've ever seen.
Yep.
Grandmama.
He was, man. He was a great player. Let's go to the phones. You're on the Saturday morning sports page. What's up?
Good morning, Pat. Good morning, Dave. How you guys doing?
Good, Irish Spike. What's happening?
Doing well. Hey, I guess a comment and a question for you guys. This is Kevin Durant's 19th season in the NBA.
Yeah.
Now playing for the Houston Rockets now, and the team's on the verge of being swept by the Lakers, who are playing in the series without two of their three best players.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay, and I guess the question I have is: it fair to be critical and call Kevin Durant overrated? He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. We all understand that, but he spent several years. He got drafted by Seattle in 2007. They moved to Oklahoma City, and that team was on the verge of breaking through, and then he left to be a free agency when they didn't break through, and went to Golden State, won 2 titles with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Steve Kerr and the Golden State Warriors in 2 years. And then didn't like it there anymore, went to Brooklyn, and then Brooklyn trades into Phoenix for a couple of years, now to Houston. I guess my question to you guys is it fair for us as NBA fans to be critical of him, but the fact that he had to latch on to other great players? I mean, Phoenix built a great team around him down there too, as did Brooklyn, as Houston probably gave away too much to get him. I guess my question about Kevin Durant is, where do you guys see him at age 37, pushing age 38 in his 19-year career, and is it fair to be critical of him?
Yeah, I don't know. As far as I'm not in this era to be critical of guys, because most of them, and that's including LeBron, all of them, and I'm a LeBron fan, but that's what they do. They want to play with other great players. They always want to do that, and and that's just how it is now. Whereas back in the day, they didn't do that, but they had less teams. So the teams they were already on, why would you leave anyway?
Yeah,
why would Magic leave? Why would Bird leave? Well, only guy that did threaten to leave, I'll say 2. Jordan at one time, when he didn't have no help to really get him where he needed to. Once they got them draft picks,
and they got Scottie
Pippen, he was satisfied for a while.
Yeah.
Kobe was ready to leave, and they never got.
No, they never
what's
got
his name? Brother Mark, not Mark. What's his name? Came in after Shaq was gone. What is his name?
Oh, Gasol.
Gasol. They had Paul Gasol.
They got Paul Gasol.
He was getting ready he wanted to get out of L.A. but then they got Paul Gasol and another guy. He stayed there.
But once Gasol left, sad thing with going on the but Kobe. Problem with Kobe is they had his last couple of years. The team was terrible because they couldn't find another player on that team, and the team wasn't any good. And then they ultimately he retired, but the team was never that good. His last 2 or 3 years there, because of his salary, they couldn't find another player there to match him, and there was just that problem. But getting back to your original question with Durant,
I don't really want
to. This is how I look at Houston. Houston doesn't have the point guard, and it shows. They're very hard to watch because they're out of sort. They're I was watching them the other night, and they're just like they don't know what to do. They don't run plays. They just kind of come down and shoot the ball, and they try to get it to Durant, and they just are not a good team with no point guard.
I'm telling you, Fleet is.
And it seems I don't know if you heard me earlier, but the Lakers seem to be playing better without Luka. They're better with LeBron being the guy because LeBron distributes the ball better. They look better without Luka. And when Luka comes back, to me, Luka's a great player, but he pounds the ball and then he shoots the ball, and players have a tendency to stand around and watch him, and then you miss the rebound comes up hot out, and the other team gets a quick 3 or a quick layup because they're not down on defense. LeBron seems to orchestrate the team better, and he's old, and I don't know what LeBron's doing next year, but with Durant needs other players. I mean, he's a great shooter and a great player, but I look at this Houston team, and as Dave said, without Van Fleet, they're just not a good team without a point guard.
If they had them,
if they had him, it would be
problem.
a better team. And I don't know. It's just Durant was a great player, but you know what you have. He's very dimensional, but he could shoot the ball. For a guy who's 6'11", he has a great shot, but he needs help too. This team is not constructed well. Without the point guard,
they just need that.
You could see.
Didn't they trade a lot of players away to get him? And so some of the younger players that the Houston fans liked and wanted said, we traded away to get Kevin Durant, isn't it? So when you made that trade, you kind of knew what you're getting, so to speak. I mean,
but I still say, as Pat just alluded to, I'm still going to stick with it. Van Fleet is in there.
Yeah, it's a different team.
The whole thing is different. It's completely different. You got guys like Tony Eason, who's not a point guard.
No.
It's trying to play it. You got Kevin Durant bringing it up. It's like a point forward. That's not really the game. He can do it, but it takes away from his natural game. So they've been like that all season. I told Pat, they're so big, they overwhelm teams. Easton was playing point at 6'8", and a half. That was the shortest guy on the team, on their starting team. Everybody else was either 7 foot or 6'11" on your entire team. So I mean, that they were just big. They were overwhelmed teams. But when they got into problems though against certain teams, they usually lose. Couldn't come back from that, and that's because you didn't have a guy that can reel that team in and get them what they need to do.
Here's the trade. You brought it up, Irish Spike. They gave up. Houston gave up Jalen Green, shooting guard, young shooting guard. Dylan Brooks, the veteran forward. Then they gave up a first-round 2025 pick, who was, Malakach?
Yeah.
That's who that ultimately be. It's coming Malakach. And then they got draft assets, the 59th pick in the 2025 draft, plus a 26 and 2032 future second-round picks.
Yeah.
But to your point, they gave up for a quick sake of discussion. They gave up the shooting guard, the veteran forward, and
I think the biggest guy you lost from that is a good player, but he's streaky. Is Jalen Green? He can't play. He's a great athlete,
right?
And he can't score, but he's streaky.
But he's
so that's all you get. You got a consistent, proven scorer in Kevin Durant. The biggest key was where they messed up is never getting a top flight backup point guard.
Backup.
They had the opportunity and they let it go, and
you
Van Fleet, and he tore that during camp.
Yeah, camp.
Before
Van
the
Fleet
season,
blew it,
and that was it.
That's how I look at Durant. I just look at Durant as I think he's a great player. He's but he needs help, and this team has got without the point guard. And hey, a lot of these NBA guys said, and I heard a lot of them saying they didn't think Houston could go far in the playoffs because they didn't have a point guard. Yeah. And it's showing it right up with the Lakers. I mean, I didn't realize how bad it was until I watched these games with the Lakers, and the first two games they were not even in the games against the Lakers, and then the game last night was one they blew. I don't know if you stayed up for that one and watched. They had the lead. Houston had the lead. They definitely make it a 2-1 series, and they had two horrific turnovers, being up 6 points, and then forced overtime, and game was over because I knew they were not winning that game.
Think about the Raptors when they won the championship
in 2019.
If they didn't have Van Fleet,
no,
that would have been, even though Kawhi and Siakam, they were playing great against Golden State, but because of Van Fleet would be able to reel that team in, get stuff to do things the correct way, they was able to handle Golden State.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the reason why you can make the argument. That big contract. That's why they won. Yep, that's why they won the title.
Yeah.
Is because he was an intricate part of the team. Van Fleet was.
Yeah, he knows how to run a team. They missed him, but that is their fault because they could. I'm trying to think of the guard they could have had. Suggs.
Right.
That plays for Orlando. They could have had him, and they didn't get him. I would have got him. I know we got Van Fleet, but I would have got Suggs, who could play at any time, and we see how valuable and he is with Orlando. So, that would have been good, somebody to create things for him, but they just look out of sorts.
They look bad.
Offensively.
Yeah, so to your point, I don't really fault Durant for that.
No, not me.
Poor team construction, and so that's what I mean. He's still a Hall of Famer. He's definitely a shooter, but that's where I would lie on it.
Pat, earlier I was driving around listening to you guys talk, and you made a comment about 20 minutes ago in the air with Dave saying that they always say a series doesn't start in the NBA till the home team loses.
Yes.
Right? And we were talking about the Raptors. Cleveland plays tomorrow at 1 o'clock. It's not today. It's tomorrow up in Toronto at 1. But, it's funny because I think we've had this conversation multiple times on the air, the three of us, like, I just don't really get excited about, when people say it's a big game in the NBA in the middle of January. I don't buy that for 1 second. I never have. Magic, Kobe, Bird, Kareem, they all said great there. If you can't win a road game in the NBA playoffs in April or May, then you weren't very good. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, obviously it's an 82-game schedule, it's a 6-month season. Steve Kerr always says we should play, 68 games and not 70. It's too long of a season.
Yep.
That is why it's so hard for me. I guess after LeBron left Cleveland the first time, when he made the decision to go with Miami Heat and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, back-to-back years, his last 2 years, we were taking on every veteran in the NBA to help him get a title.
Yep.
You know, Shaq, and the list goes on, and it didn't work out. You lost to Orlando, then you lost to Boston, LeBron left for Miami. But those 2 years, 08, 09, and 09, 010, the Cavs had the best record in the NBA in the regular season. They had home court advantage all the way through the NBA Finals, and we never even got to the finals.
Never made it.
So that's why when people get excited about NBA basketball, or about a 14-game winning streak, or about a 6-game teams on a 14-game winning streak, or teams on a 6-game losing streak in the the middle of January or February, I never get excited about that stuff because in the end it doesn't really mean a whole lot.
No, it's the same thing with baseball. It's like breaking down baseball in May. People are all upset because the New York Mets are playing horrible.
Yeah.
Pump the brakes. It's April. Come on. I know they look bad. They'll figure it out. They'll make a trade. They'll do something. Don't count anybody out in April. I just don't buy. I agree with you. I don't get real worked up during the regular season with those sports, that basketball and baseball, because the seasons are just so long. Football's different because football doesn't make football that much better, is because every game means something. But basketball and baseball, I just don't get real worked up in January and May in baseball, January and December in basketball, because it's how they play in now and the injuries. And that's the problem you have with load management and everything else. Coaches are going to want to keep their team as healthy as they can for the playoffs, because especially if they're in the playoffs, they're going to take it easy with these guys, and that's causing all this, noise, and people are upset. But they kind of created it when 20 of 30 teams make your playoffs, because I count the play-in as the playoffs. Bottom line is 10 teams are out of it. And when you start the season, I make the argument there's 5 teams already out of it. Seriously. Do you think like Washington and Brooklyn had any chance this year to do anything from the opening tip? No. Yeah. I could rattle off a couple other teams that, like Sacramento, and there was another.
Pat, one thing about it, you just mentioned Brooklyn. I saw something on YouTube the other night. They were going, remember they made that big trade for they gave away all those picks for Paul Pierce and and then Kevin Garnett. Then they got a lot of them back by trading guys away.
Right.
And then they didn't do anything with those picks.
No. That's the whole problem.
That's the problem.
It's, again, NBA draft picks to me are...
No, New Orleans. I'm sorry, Pat. They were talking about New Orleans.
Oh, yeah.
When they got rid of Anthony Davis, and they made a bunch of trades like within a 2-year time period about 5 years ago. Oklahoma City did, and people said, look what they did. I guess I didn't know this like 4 months ago. I didn't know what Oklahoma City got back for when they traded Paul George, LA Clippers. They got a steal. That was a steal.
Shea Gillis.
What they got.
They got Shea
Gillis. That's unbelievable what they got.
That's to this day.
And they hit on all their picks too, where New Orleans made similar deals with Anthony Davis and other veterans. And here they are 5 years later, still one of the worst teams in the NBA. And they've had all those picks, and they haven't capitalized on them like Oklahoma City did.
When they did that, I was like, I like Paul George, but I would not give up Shea. And he was not the player that he is today, but you could just see
he was
how he was.
He
would dominate at a young age. He would dominate some guys. And, he didn't have that consistency that he has now, but you could just see he just was a star. You just seen it. And I said, they going to give up on him? Okay.
They gave up. But I didn't. 2019, they gave up. The Clippers had Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and Gallinari.
And why would you give him up too?
Gallinari and 5 first-round picks plus 2 swaps to get Paul George of OK City. That's what they gave up.
Yeah.
They gave up a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of players, all the trade. Here's some of they got shit. The Thunder received Shea Gillis, Gallinari, first-round pick Trey Mann, first-round pick Jalen Williams, 2023 pick swap not used, and they got the 2024 first-round pick and a 2025 pick swap and a 2026 first-round pick. And for Paul George,
Yeah.
It's like
I don't know what and at that time he was at
he was
at
with OK
OKC.
City.
And that's
then.
when they had him and
They had
what you call it?
that was 2019.
Yeah, and they still had
Did they have
Westbrook.
Harden or no? They traded him.
No, they had Westbrook, and then they had
that's it.
And then they had what you call it too from the used to play at the Knicks. He's retired now. God, well, what is happening to my brain? But top flight player, played with the Knicks, played with Denver. Who am I talking about?
Carmelo Anthony.
Carmelo Anthony. They were all on
City.
OKC. And if you remember in the playoffs, that's the year the Dame time came out. That's when they were winning, and Portland came back and they had one. Well, I think they had like 4 seconds left, and they gave it to Dame at half court. He took about 2 steps in and hit that 3-pointer, and then started waving to him and to the crowd. Bye, you're out. and the next thing I knew, Paul George was traded.
Yep.
But to get all that built their franchise to unbelievable status.
And that's where Sam Presti, the GM from Oklahoma City, really built this team.
I got to give Clippers credit, though. Wouldn't you think after a mess like that, they would be irrelevant for quite some time? They popped right back in there.
They popped back in.
But they gave up some stuff.
But they gave up, and they said the one player that haunts them is Shea Gillis, who was just young as hell. And that's what the problem you have with these drafts. Shea Gillis played for Kentucky. He played for Calipari. And, he was an okay player, but he went one and done, and he hadn't really developed. And that's the problem with the draft in the NBA. You just don't know with these players who's going to take off and who's not, who's going to be out of the league.
Yeah.
And Shea Gillis just was a good player, but I remember when he played in Kentucky, he was good, but I didn't think he was like, oh, this guy's going to be like one of the best NBA players, because you don't know any of that.
But I watched him at the Clippers when he was young, and I said, man, this guy has some talent. Keep that. Y'all can build this team.
Right, you could, but
they trade him young like that. I was like, wow.
And that's your problem you ultimately have with losing like now you're haunted because you see this guy win an NBA title and he looks like he's going to win another NBA title and he's only 27 years old.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's what would you say that's equivalent to, Irish Mike, the Herschel Walker trade?
Yeah, it's right up. When you see that trade, you look back on it and go, oh, my God. And obviously Paul George is in Philadelphia now, and with that team, you don't even know what guys are going to play. That payroll and what they've done in Philadelphia the last several years, if you're a Sixers fan, you just scratch your head and say, what are we doing? We have some really talented guys that never play.
Yeah.
Well, here's
whether it be regular season or playoffs.
Well, here's to add insult to injury. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander was drafted 11th pick overall in the first round in 2018 by the Charlotte Hornets. They had him. They traded him on draft night to the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
And he was an NBA all-rookie second team in 2019. So he did, to your point, Dave Clark.
Yeah, it was. He was really good. You could just see it.
You could see that he was actually going to be, you think, well, this guy, and he was only, here's the point, he was 19 years old when they drafted him.
So you would think you get a guy to make the second team in the NBA.
And he was 20 years old.
When you would think they would want to build on that. You would think.
And that's the thing. That's the whole point. And he was only with the Clippers till 2019, and you can see pictures of him. And we look him up, and my God, he looks like he's 12 years old. He's a young-looking kid.
Yeah.
And you can see a picture of him in 2018 with the Clippers, and I don't think he's old enough to drive. He looks so young. But the whole point of it is, you had him, and you had him a year, then you trade him to OK City.
Great job, Presley. Gotta tell you that you want him in basketball. You want Harry Roseman in football. You want those guys. They just commit highway robberies all the time. I don't know how they do it, but they do.
And he had some injuries, but ultimately he got. But He started with Oklahoma City. It says December of 2020. He put up 24 points and 7 rebounds, 9 assists.
And when you see young players,
but you could see he was developing.
I think in basketball, when you see young players get like hamstrings and different things like that happen, I think they don't gauge how long the season is. It's a longer season in NBA than in college.
Hold on, Irish Mike. Yep. We're coming up. Last section of the show. We'll be right back after a quick timeout. Western Reserve Radio.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Ohio. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
What do basketball, choir, drama club, and marching band all have in common? They're all high school activities that offer learning opportunities not necessarily found in the classroom. They take up just a fraction of a typical Ohio high school's budget, and they go a long way to giving young people the tools they need to thrive. High school activities, they're more than extracurricular. They're extra important, too. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Saturday morning sports page right back at you. Let's get Irish Mike. Hey, Irish Mike.
Hi, gentlemen.
Yeah. But anyway, we were kind of going back in time, talked about the Carmelo trade to New York, where they gave up too much to get Carmelo and depleted the roster. Donnie Walsh was the GM back then, and he was going to hold out on Denver and not give them Gallinari. But then Dolan, the owner, stepped in, gave them Gallinari, and he went. Carmelo went to the Knicks, but without Gallinari, they missed that. He would have been an important piece that they gave up. But we were kind of talking about that.
You gotta be careful how much you give up.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. You can't deplete your team. And that's what the Knicks did getting Bridges, is they gave up all those draft picks for Bridges, Mikal Bridges, and that was not a good move on the Knick part.
Yeah.
And people are still upset that they gave up all the draft picks for Mikal Bridges, who's okay, but he wasn't worth all those picks, and they knew that.
Correct. Mm-hmm. I think the Orlando Magic, I can't remember what player plays on Orlando, they made a trade with Memphis last summer, and they gave up 3 or 4 first-round draft picks for a guy that, I don't even remember his name, but he only averaged like 15 points a game. It's not like he was a superstar. He was a good, solid NBA player, but people were complaining in Orlando saying, yes, he's a good player, but we gave up too many first-round draft picks for him. I think the trade was like last July or last August. I can't remember his name, though. He went from Memphis to Orlando. So, I mean, we've seen those trades before. You give up multiple number 1 draft picks, And the theory is like, the Browns picked number 24 on Thursday night. When they made that trade last year on draft day, they were assuming Jacksonville was going to be a top 10 pick, and Jacksonville had a great season.
Right.
And that top 10 pick went from the top 10 to pick number 24. And you got a good football player in Concepcion, but when you make a deal sometimes you're expecting, or you're hoping at least the team you make a deal with is a bad team, so you get those draft picks or higher.
Yeah, this is the trade you're talking about. Orlando Magic, is that the Desmond Bain trade?
Yes.
Yeah,
there you go.
from Memphis in exchange for Caldwell Pope, Cole Anthony, and 4 unprotected first-round picks, 2028, 2030, and 2029 pick swap. That's the one you're referring to.
That is correct, yes.
Although I've watched Desmond Bain play, he does something. He could get caught, and then he gets I've been watching him play.
He's strong.
That guy's strong, but then he gets he gets on a roll.
Oh, yeah.
Then he can't miss.
Yeah,
he's so streaky.
Yeah, when he gets hot.
And he gets hot, and then
he hit it from anywhere.
And that's it. He could throw it from the water fountain, and it's going in.
Yeah, that
and
guy
he gets
now.
Desmond Bain gets in that zone. And he's a big, like you said, he's a big guy. I mean, he's muscular. He's about 6'6". But I mean, he gets rolling. And I said the other night, I go, this guy's not missing.
Yeah, that's how
That
he is.
first game against Detroit, I think Desmond
They try to
Bain.
intimidate him. That's just so funny because he look at them like, "What are you doing?"
No, he doesn't back. Orlando's that team. They don't. One thing that scares you with Orlando, and I think Detroit could have problems here. Orlando's kind of a Rough Rider type of physical team. And they could score points, and they play hard, and they hustle.
Yeah.
And they could be a problem in the playoffs. I mean, Cleveland's looking to win, and they'll get Detroit or Orlando. But if you're Cleveland, I might be wrong, but I would rather take Detroit on. I don't know if I want to play Orlando. If Orlando beats Detroit and they get the momentum and they get the confidence with a young team, they're dangerous. I think Cleveland can beat Detroit. Because I don't think Detroit has the scoring.
The only difference between that series, and people will tell you, it's only, and maybe we go with Kobe and Magic and Bird and Jabbar said, the only difference between playing Detroit and Orlando is Detroit would have home court advantage over Cleveland, and Orlando would not. But if you're a good basketball team, you can win anywhere, right?
Well, and I think you know what? I think I watch the Knicks play. If anything, the home court hurts the Knicks. They do. I'm serious. I watched them play so many games and lose in the Garden. Because teams come into the Garden wanting to play really good because it's New York, and the Knicks get tight. And when they start to get tight, like they lost that game in Atlanta, I had a bad feeling. I'm watching that game, and the Knicks had that 12-point lead or something going into that fourth quarter, and then they start playing not to lose, and I said they're in trouble.
Yeah, that's not and that used to be the thing. You couldn't beat New York.
No.
You go back to the days of
Frazier, Monroe, and DeBusschere.
Well,
even with Riley, yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about that. Oh, yeah, not that Riley team for sure.
But the only thing, Reggie Miller came in and beat them.
Yeah, he did.
In 95.
He did. But they wasn't consistently beaten back then.
Not now. They are.
And especially when our guy Bernard King played, wasn't beating them.
No, he was the mid-'80s. He was a beast. Bernard was an unbelievable player.
You're not beating him there. But now, they fold. They do.
I had a bad feeling they were going to lose that game too.
Yep.
I was not shocked, and that's why I don't think the Knicks are winning the series. I think Atlanta's going to win because I don't think the Knicks can win. And they're going to fire Mike Brown.
They better win today.
They got to win
it's
today.
Tomorrow, right?
Today.
Oh,
Cleveland's tomorrow. You're right. Cleveland plays tomorrow at 1:00. Detroit and Orlando play today at 1:00. I think I had that flipped. But Detroit, Orlando are today at 1, which is a big game because Orlando could, if they win today's game in Orlando, they go up 2-1. And I think Detroit's got in trouble. And the Knicks are already in trouble.
Yeah, they're in trouble.
And they got to win today or they're out. Because they go down 3-1 to Atlanta and they're not coming back.
They better move that ball. They move that ball, they'll win.
Right.
But if they get stagnant, they're in big trouble.
But if they get a lead and they think they're going to coast, they're going to lose. Because
I'm gonna say one thing that Barkley said, and it is true. Why are you not getting the ball to Karl Anthony Towns?
That's down low
because it's such a mismatch.
But the thing is with the Knicks, that's what they do.
You got
and they put Anthony Towns out at the wing, and he stands there. It's like No, get him down low because Kuminga can't guard him.
No, he got great athletic ability, but that big body could get rid of him.
Jonathan Kuminga is actually playing pretty good
yeah,
after not doing well at Golden State. But the point is, he can't guard Anthony Towns down low. But they don't do that, and they pound the ball, and then Brunson takes a shot, and then they stand around, and then Atlanta came back game 2, and then again game 3. I don't think the Knicks win, and if they lose, I'll go. Mike Brown's out. They'll fire Mike Brown. Dolan will fire him before they get out of the locker room if they lose.
I'm sick of Dolan.
Oh well,
Irish Mike, why don't you go in and buy the Knicks?
Yeah.
I'm tired of Dolan. Dolan is.
Well, he's going to go after
who? Donovan?
Donovan. But I think rumor is Donovan wants the Orlando job. But they think, because they think that, but I don't think they're going to fire their coach.
Yeah, they mean that.
But that's the job Donovan wants is Orlando. He wants to go back to Florida.
Yeah.
Because that's where he coached Gainesville. He coached in Florida. He wants to go back there.
I can see that.
Lucia. Billy Donovan also, remember, if you remember correctly, let's remember, Dan, both of you are going to go, oh, that's right. Billy Donovan had the Orlando Magic job for 36 hours, if you remember correctly.
That's right. And then he took.
Remember that?
Yep. And then he went back.
36 hours. You remember that?
Yes, he did. And then he went back to Florida. He left Florida to take Orlando. Then he didn't. Then he had it and he reneged. He goes, I don't really want it. And he went back to Florida.
Yeah, he'd be fortunate if they say, yeah,
now he won't. He ain't have. If they give it to him now, he's not leaving. He's not going 36. He's staying there for. He's 60 years old. He'll coach.
He'll walk there to get it now.
Oh yeah, and he'll coach till he's 70 with that team.
Yeah.
Because if you wanted to coach, that's the team you want to coach because they're young. They're going to get better.
Yeah.
And you want that. If you want to, he doesn't want to coach the Knicks because the Knicks are. I think they've got a roster construction and they're paying a lot of money now. Again, I don't know what the Knicks are ultimately. I think this team. The thing with the Knicks is I think they can only go so far with this team. This is their year to do it, but I think they're not going to do it. And I don't know if I want to blame Mike Brown or whoever.
They dug a hole. I know that. Yeah, that's for sure. They dug a hole.
They have. And he's down a deep rabbit hole, and they're going to have a hard time with Atlanta. And I have a bad feeling they're not going to win.
I know.
I had a bad feeling. We picked this last week. I picked the Knicks, but I was very hesitant because I knew Atlanta was going to give them problems.
You said in 7, though, right?
I said 7.
Yeah, and I said 6.
And you said 6.
Yeah,
I said the
I
Knicks.
knew it'd be a problem. I said they should get through it, but they're in
but
bad straits.
I
right
also had a bad feeling with this team.
Yeah.
And
I guys had a couple questions about the NFL draft. What were the biggest surprises to you? I thought, just personally, and I know that you're a big Ohio State fan, I thought Carnell Tate going to pick number 4 was too high. I didn't want the Browns to take him at number 6. I think Carnell Tate's a good football player. To me, he's more of a number 2 wide receiver than a number. Of all the great receivers come out of Ohio State the last 5, 6, 7 years in the NFL draft, I put him near the bottom of that tournament. I think there was 4 or 5 guys clearly better than him. So for him to go number 4 to Tennessee, I thought, it's kind of a reach for that high. I thought he would go more towards the back of the top. I thought the Dallas Cowboys got an absolute steal in getting Caleb Downs at number 11. That was a steal. He's a top 5 player in my opinion.
To get him, yep. And they knew it too. That's why they made that trade.
Mm-hmm. How about the Rams at 13 taking Ty Simpson? I think that's the biggest. I don't know, Clark. Didn't seem like the head coach was overly thrilled about that pick.
Well, it caught him off guard. That's what they said. I was listening to the show later. They said that it caught him off guard because he did want Ty Simpson, but he had a scenario how they could do it and
Trade
get him
back.
later and get back in the first round at the end.
He wanted to play. He thought he wanted to pick up more picks. The GM didn't. I think the GM wanted him and didn't care about more picks. The GM is like, I want that guy. I'm going to go get him. I don't care about getting more picks.
They said that. They said, well, he was worried if he did try to move that somebody else was going to grab him.
And that's the problem.
So he just went on and got him.
And look what happened to Cleveland with Pittsburgh with the wide receiver. Yeah. And Philadelphia
my favorite wide receiver
swooped in
the draft, by the way. When Philadelphia got him, I said, that's a steal. Lemon's a player. I thought he was the best. he reminds me of Amara St. Brown so much, and I think he's going to be the best wide receiver out of
That's
the class.
exactly who he reminds me of. Tough, in traffic, run
the thing.
I mean, so getting him and then the other stuff that they went and got, as far as receivers that's already around, like Wicks from the Packers, Hollywood Brown, all that, you had all that in, and you already still got Smith, and I think they'll be fine.
Oh,
It's hard to lose a guy like that because he catches
everything.
But you
and
can't go through that psychological torment with your team. You got too good of a team to be messing around with that.
No, I think that they got a deal.
And that's why I said I looked at that highway robbery that Roseman just did, getting Jonathan Grenard.
Yeah.
For third and or fourth and fifth
and
round.
They just signed him to a new deal.
So
they just said that they got Grenard. They gave him a $100 million deal. They got Jonathan Grenard traded to the Eagles, and he gets a new $100 million deal.
So they lose Phillips, and then they get Grenard, who I even like even better than Phillips, because he is tenacious. He played for Houston and the Vikings, and he does not mess around.
They sent 2 third-round picks for him. 98 third rounder and a third rounder next year.
Okay, those and he gets a lot of compensation.
And
what they call
compensatory picks. Right. They sent the 2 third-round picks this year's and next year's for Grenard, and then they agreed to a 4-year, $100 million extension with Philadelphia, and that's $50 million in guaranteed. And
they're saying you gentlemen mentioned the Dallas-Pittsburgh thing. Mike McCarthy was head coach at Dallas for several years before he went to Pittsburgh. He took some of those people in the front office to him with Pittsburgh that were in Dallas for years. So they were wondering if some people were texting back and forth, people known each other for years and years and years, that now in the Pittsburgh organization were texting with Dallas folks and said, hey, we're going to take Lemon with the next pick. And then Dallas used that information against Pittsburgh, got on the phone with Philadelphia and said, hey, they're going to pick this Lemon. If you want to come up and get him, come up and get him right now. And that Dallas got a better trade scenario from Philadelphia as a result of somebody giving away information they probably should not have given away. You know what I mean?
I believe that.
That could have happened.
That could have happened. That doesn't seem that.
Because that was weird.
That's
they on the phone.
It was strange, though.
No.
You send an innocent text, and we've all done it, and all of a sudden it blows up in your face.
Well, I mean, Philly knew he was going to Pittsburgh, and they moved right up and snatched him, and they knew he was on the phone with Pittsburgh.
He was on the phone with the Steelers.
Yeah, he was on the phone with the Steelers. Well, Ty Simpson said he never got a call from anybody. He just found out he got drafted by the Rams. He goes, I didn't know anything about it.
Oh, wow.
Supposedly, and then they were saying that, but the GM and his family are real close. Mm-hmm. He has his family and the Rams GM are really close, tight, and the GM had his eye on Ty Simpson for a long time, and that's why he didn't want to trade back. He wanted to get him because, Dave, you brought up the problem you have with trading back. Someone might swoop in and get him
later on,
and then you don't have your guy you wanted because you didn't want to make a trade. You traded back thinking, okay, I'm going to get this guy later. Then someone swoops in and they pick him up.
And they might have got scared at the Jets because they accumulated another first rounder. Remember, they only had 2.
Yeah,
they got 3.
And he was rumored to be going to the Jets was another team.
And they might have would have did that later in the draft, but they didn't.
The Cardinals were supposed to going to get him.
Yep.
So the problem is, I think that owner felt that way. Is he felt there's too many other teams here that are going to get him, and they might trade up and snatch him away from us. We're here, and I want him. Mm-hmm. And I don't blame him. I don't blame the owner for doing that. I know McVay's not happy because he wanted to pick up more capital and thought that.
And I understood,
I get it
because he's looking future. He's looking at, we got a opportunity, but they're strong though. They're solid.
People believe McVay won't even be there.
Yeah,
he may leave.
Yeah,
they win another Super Bowl. McVay may go on TV, and he doesn't think he's going to be there long term.
Yeah, I only think he's going to come.
And I think the GM is thinking, I got to think long term. And he didn't want Simpson out. And who knows next year? It's supposed to be a great quarterback class, but we know how that always happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
That never works out half the time.
And these guys might work out this year. Sometimes you just never know. You get these steals. They late developers. Yeah, but Carnell Tate, that shocked me
Yeah,
when he went that
it
early.
was a little. I was shocked too.
Yep.
Because that meant Reese fell to the Giants, where Reese was supposed to go to supposedly to either Tennessee or the Cardinals. And Jeremiah Love was supposed to go to Tennessee.
Yeah.
But the Cardinals took him.
Not just like I said, with Arvell, great talent, but you don't know what position. And I think the Jets could not pick him, not know where I'm going to play him at.
Yeah, I think that.
And I'm not in the studio with you, Dave, so I don't want to get you in trouble here, okay? Lucia is a Giants fan. But does the Reese kid have a little Vernon Goldston in him?
Well, that's always the problem. You think that could happen.
Because if you look, he has all the measurables. He's a combine warrior. And at a combine, he's in a grade A+++.
Right.
But his productivity on the field, especially the last 6 or 7 games, look at the numbers.
Yeah, no, that's
last season. Look at the last 6 or 7 games, including against Miami. I have friends who, like Lucia, are diehard State fans. They said they called him Claude Rains in that game. Said he just disappeared. He didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's the only thing. But I know he has the talent.
It's there.
But I just don't see. When I seen second pick, I said not that early. Especially not the Jets. I said the Jets, you got to get somebody solid.
I thought the Giants might go Caleb Downs with that pick.
Well, that's what I thought they was going to get.
I thought they were going to go Caleb Downs.
But, I mean, I think if they can find out where to put him at, they got
Caleb
much.
Downs was more the sure thing. Don't you guys agree more than Reese?
Agree. I thought Caleb Downs was more of a sure thing.
You know, that's a sure thing.
You know he was going to be a great player. That's why I thought the Giants should have taken him. I don't have the offensive lineman. I'm fine with them taking the guy out of Miami because the Giants' offensive line has been a challenge for so many years. And getting a young offensive tackle that you can bring in, they're going to need it because the Giants' offensive line is always such a jigsaw puzzle at best. Figure it out. And I think that if they get a guy, that I have no problem. But I think Arvell Reese is good, but I know people are hesitant because of what you just said. But I think Harbaugh's got the coach and the defense enough to hopefully figure it out.
Yeah.
And he could be a great player, or
could he? That's what I think. He must see something
that
matches what he needs.
I would hope so.
You know, so.
And I think, gentlemen, this was only the third time in the history of the NFL draft that 2 running backs from the same school both got drafted in the first round. Obviously, Jeremiah Love went to the Arizona Cardinals at pick 3, which I'm disappointed in Notre Dame fan because Arizona is a dysfunctional organization. You know, Marvin Harrison's still down there at wide receiver, and his career, he hasn't really done anything yet.
No,
I'm not sure I blame him. It just
Did they trade Marvin Harrison?
Marvin Harrison, he got traded. I forgot to who.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A few
Who
days
did he get
ago.
traded to?
I forgot who it was a few days ago.
Okay, I must have missed that.
I thought for draft picks. I got to see if I can find it.
Oh, maybe you look that up. I did not see that. If that happened, I did not see that.
Yeah, I seen something that said I didn't know he was
Maybe
out.
Maybe he's proposed. I don't see it yet.
You don't see it done yet?
Not yet. It's probably in the making.
I mean, there were some rumors out there, but I don't think I saw that get done.
Yeah,
maybe
and that
maybe
could
you're
be
right,
just,
Dave.
Yeah, and it might be just like how Grenard and all them came up saying that Harrison was going to be moved to I forgot what team.
He's only 23. Not yet.
But I think, guys, for running back Jadarian Price, Seattle is a perfect landing spot. Don't you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Because they swapped their Walker running back to the Chiefs about a month ago. So I thought
that was a steal.
If he gets picked, that's a perfect spot for him to go to.
Yeah, I thought so too. Because I don't think there's a big difference between he and Jeremiah Love. And he doesn't have, as they were saying, he doesn't have the tread on the tires. He's got more tread on his tires. He's never started. But that's good. Because he's coming in, and I go, you're getting this guy. And again, he and Jeremiah Love are good together, but I don't see a big gap between them. So, and Seattle's...
Price was a class of 2022. And if you remember, in the 2022 season, Marcus Freeman's first season head coach, Notre Dame played Ohio State down in Columbus. And Jaron Price was going to be a true freshman. He was supposed to be the starting running back, and unfortunately in training camp in August, he tore his Achilles tendon.
Yeah.
So he was obviously out for the 2022 season, missed the whole season. So when he came back and had a productive career, obviously loves a generational talent. He's awesome.
Right.
But Jadarian Price is big and fast and can run.
Yeah, he can run.
I mean,
he's a player.
Those are true. I remember arguing with Penn State fans because they had Allen and they had the Singleton.
Yeah.
And the Penn State running backs coach left Penn State to come to Notre Dame a year and a half ago. They said, I can't believe he'd leave the best running back room in America to go to Notre Dame. And I'm like, no, we have Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love. They're better than those Penn State guys. Oh, no, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're. Well, O'Neal was right.
No, you were right. It's not close.
Come on.
I mean, those guys the Penn State guys. I mean, no, they're not on that. They're not in that level at all. I mean, Price.
I mean, you have 2 first-round draft picks.
And Jeremiah Love.
Both are super talented kids. Yeah. No question about that.
Yeah. And not a big. Again, I didn't see a big gap between them. People said Jeremiah Love was by far the best player in the draft. I agree with you, but what's his name? Wasn't far. Not very. There's not much of a gap between those players, and I think Seattle got a steal. That Snyder, that GM. I mean, they just. To get him, Price, to get him at that pick is unbelievable. Because I was surprised he lasted that long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think were they the only 2 running backs taken in the first round? Am I correct?
Yeah, that's it. They were the only 2 picked in the first round.
It's almost like, correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, on the offensive side of the ball, it's running back gets devalued. On the defensive side of the ball, it's safeties that get devalued for whatever reason.
And I don't know why either, but that is. But like I said, at the end of the day, Seattle stole him.
I was just looking at some Marvin Harrison Jr. The numbers fell through with the Saints, but they still are talking again.
They're going to trade
going
him.
back.
Yeah, that deal's.
They're trying to get it.
They'll have Thibodeau, and they're going to get Thibodeau from the Giants because they're working that out, and they're going to end up with Marvin Harrison. You wait.
Probably try to get both of them.
They're going to try to get both of them. That's what they're gonna do, and Marvin Harrison playing in the dome, but then I think he'll have a good quarterback. That
Tyler Schlau,
Schlau,
yeah, Schlau from Louisville.
Louisville, he's playing good. Marvin Harrison's going to have a better. I think it's going to be a better team for Harrison to go to and get away from the Cardinals.
Yeah,
I think that's a good thing, and then I think they're going to get Thibodeau from the Giants. Because I think that deal, my buddy sent me a text that supposedly it's a 3rd and a 4th
Why
rounder.
are the Giants going to move on from Thibodeau?
Yeah, they are. Rumor is.
Why? Is there a reason why? Lack of production?
Injuries. They got Reese now, and they think Reese will play where Thibodeau is.
They loaded at the edge.
They're loaded at the edge, and I think
Abdul Carter.
Yep, they got Abdul Carter.
You got Reese.
And now you got Reese.
Brian Burns.
And Brian
Burns is not sitting down
for
none of those guys. None of them.
You're not going to bench Burns.
No, he's too good.
Carter, because you drafted.
Carter started showing it even
and
more.
And he's starting to develop, so you're going to keep them. Then the only one, the Giants will do something to get the middle guard, the big tackle. They're going to have to get somebody to fill in for Lawrence, and they will.
Yeah.
But the point is, I hope Reese works out for him because I do. I get concerned. What are they going to do? And maybe they'll make him an edge, and maybe with the Giants scheme and with the coaching.
Well, but the Bengals did good.
The Bengals.
Trades. They got the trade with Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that they got Jonathan Allen too.
Yeah, they got Allen
from the Redskins.
Yeah.
That's really good on your defensive line in the interior.
The line got better real quick because Lawrence still has a couple good years in him.
Yeah.
He's still a player.
Yep. He wanted another contract.
But he wanted another contract. But he wanted that extension with guaranteed money, and they wouldn't give it to him because now the money's not guaranteed anymore.
Right.
And that happens all the time in the NFL. When the guaranteed money is no longer there, the players want to renegotiate and get more guaranteed.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And the Giants were giving him $22 million anyway, but it wasn't guaranteed.
Dave Clark, I'm excited because in 3 minutes, the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round starts for the next 7 hours. NFL draft on this soggy day. Stay home.
Yeah.
And more importantly, Dave, at 2:00 this afternoon, the Notre Dame spring football game is on.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Peacock Network on live.
There you go.
I've seen
Blue and Gold spring games at 2:00 this afternoon in South Bend.
Yep, I've seen it.
And goal number one, which don't anyone hurt. Okay, that's my goal number one. Don't get hurt.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, no injuries. Yeah, please.
Yeah,
need that.
Yeah, no ACLs or.
I know that
Achilles.
officials guys will have quick whistles. We all know that. I mean, it's college, and I know they got a block, hit, and tackle. We all understand that as college kids. They don't have any. I mean, that's what you got to evaluate kids, but you just hope no one gets hurt in these spring games.
No, that's it.
And Irish Mike, before you go, how did you like the Browns draft?
I liked it. I think they've done a great job.
Yep.
I would give it an A right now for sure.
Well, we wonder.
At least on paper, they've hit all their needs they're looking for. So I think that Andrew Berry and his front office have done an exceptional job so far.
And maybe Jim
we'll see
is
what
right.
they do today, this afternoon.
Jim said something earlier. They got rid of the baseball guy.
Podesta.
And Podesta might have been the problem because
might have been.
what a
Yeah,
draft
could be
they
right.
had last year. Now, if they turn around and do it again this year, that'd be great.
See.
I agree. Hey, you gentlemen, have a great weekend. Thanks for taking my phone call.
Thanks, Irish Mike. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark. Everybody have a great and safe week. Do not drink and do not drive. Stay safe. Buckle up. Saturday morning sports page. Western Reserve Radio.
Your home for PAFL football is the iMedia1 Network. Western Reserve Radio, Western Reserve Radio 2, and City View Sportscast, Youngstown, Ohio.
VSIN, the Sports Betting Network.
Hey, it is Ready, Set, Bet here on VSIN, the Sports Betting Network. I'm Matt Brown. Mike Somich. Boy, do we have a great show for you here on a Saturday. Mike, I know you. Is this like, what is this? Is this Christmas Eve for you? What is post-draw day? Where does that sit?
I mean, it's pretty high up. But you do have a week to wait. Like Christmas Eve, there's instant gratification, right? Because the next morning you wake up, you open some presents. The Kentucky Derby, to me, is kind of like the Super Bowl a little bit. So this is like when the props get released for the Super Bowl. Now you have all this